This is ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Wake up, America. It's time for the first football game of 2009. We ring in the new year with the Outback Bowl. Sean Green, the winner of the Doak Walker Award as the nation's best running back, leads the Iowa Hawkeyes into Tampa, the hometown of Stephen Garcia, the highly touted redshirt freshman quarterback who will get the start for the South Carolina Gamecocks today. Welcome, everyone, to the 2009 Outback Bowl from Raymond James Stadium, the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the National Football League. A beautiful day in the Bay Area. Temperature near 70, a little bit breezy as South Carolina and Iowa play football against each other for the first time ever. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Happy New Year. Sean McDonough along with Chris Spielman will be joined by Rob Stone in just a moment. Iowa is rolling into the new year. The Hawkeyes come to Tampa having won 5 of their last 6 behind a breakout season from Sean Green. You really couldn't have anticipated what he's done this year.
That's amazing. He's the quiet storm, and what I mean by that, his actions speak louder than his words. And I think the biggest asset when I watch this kid play and run is his power. And don't be deceived, he also has breakaway speed. Not many people have caught him from behind. But the other thing, and this is the cool thing to watch about college football and teamwork, his linemen, Sean, they get jacked up when he runs people over. So look for that today. And by the way, this offensive line is as tough as any in the country.
That Iowa team taking on a South Carolina team that is not rolling into the new year. The Gamecocks lost their last 2 in the regular season in convincing fashion against Florida and Clemson. The quarterback situation for Steve Spurrier unsettled all year. Today he'll hand the ball to Stephen Garcia.
Well, Stephen Garcia, his main objective today is to hang in there. And if the first option is not there, look for the second and third option. Early on when he struggles, he panics a little bit and he goes back to his safety net, which are his feet. He tucks it and runs. In order for him to grow as a quarterback, he's got to grow within his knowledge of the offense and wait for the routes to develop downfield. Keep your eye on that today. That will be the key to the success of this South Carolina offense.
South Carolina, the SEC, 7-5 overall, 4-4 in conference. They won the toss. Steve Spurrier deferred, so Ryan Suckup with a strong leg. 25 touchbacks this year. Will kick it off. Aki O'Meara, Jewel Hampton back deep for Iowa, dressed in the black and gold. It's Hampton from the 5. The true freshman right up the hash marks. And an excellent kickoff return to the 36-yard line. Tackled by Antonio Allen. 32-yard return. Let's welcome in Rob Stone.
Happy New Year, Sean. In a heavy hometown feel on the South Carolina sideline, head coach Steve Spurrier played and coached here in Tampa Bay professionally. His quarterback today, Stephen Garcia, local boy, makes good. Today, just his 3rd career start, but his bowl preparations have been in very familiar territory. They practiced all week at his former high school, even used his former locker in the high school, Sean. And that's not all. The head coach of the local NFL team, John Gruden here, the Buccaneers, even sought him out, wished him well. It's always a good sign when you're a freshman and somebody in the NFL knows who you are.
Well, John Gruden stopped by the practice with his young son to watch Garcia and also say hello to his good friend Steve Spurrier. First pass of the game is from Garcia's opposite number today, Ricky Stanzi, the sophomore from Mentor, Ohio. Alternated at quarterback the first 4 games of the year with Jake Christensen. He emerged, did Stanzi, as the full-time starter in game 5. Has the luxury of having the nation's 2nd leading rusher to hand the ball off to. Sean Green carried for about a yard. Jasper Brinkley made the stop. Green averaging 144 yards per game. Only Donald Brown of Connecticut with a better average, but Green is the only running back in the country who rushed for 100 or more in all of his games this season. And those 1,729 yards this season, the Iowa single season rushing mark. Third down and 9 for the Hawkeyes at 8-4 overall, 5-3 in the Big Ten, and they convert a first down to the tight end, Brandon Myers.
Bartman Sapp makes a tackle, and he's in there. replacing Cook, the leading tackler who's missed because of academics. Eric Norwood has to have a big game. 9 sacks, good pass rusher. Jasper Brinkley, 269-pound middle linebacker, made a play, nice play on Sean Green. And Lottie Ajiboye has been tough inside, and it all starts with him up the middle.
Ellis Johnson, the defensive coordinator, said that front four has played very well. Ajiboye doesn't have big stats, but he has been effective game in and game out. Green wrapped up by Marvin Sapp. Chris started to allude to one of the big stories of this bowl game. South Carolina, due to depletions to the roster for academics, Emmanuel Cook, one of their safeties, and a second-team all-conference player, their leading tackler, unable to play today, did not academically qualify. They've been playing a 4-2-5 look all season long with 5 defensive backs. Today against Iowa, they're going to go to the traditional 4-3 with 3 linebackers and only 4 DBs. Marvin Sapp, who's not ordinarily a starter at linebacker, starts today. He was in on the last tackle, number 53. Darian Stewart, who's ordinarily that hybrid linebacker and safety. He's a true safety today. He just made the stop on Green on that play.
Well, it's what Ellis Johnson is doing is he's bringing the 8-man in the box, and they have him outnumbered. And you'll see Darian Stewart sneaking up right inside. And when you have 8 people in the box, you don't have enough people to block. Has witnessed off the replay. Nobody touched him. All he has to do is make a tackle in the hole, and it's a good tackle for a safety on a big power back like Sean Green.
Another 3rd down for Iowa. 3rd down and 5. Just across midfield. Stanzi with a lot of time behind that line, and he converts again. It's the tight end again, Brandon Myers. Gamecocks are saying he lost the ball, but the Big East officiating crew does not agree. 17-yard gain and a 1st down for the Hawkeyes.
If it works once, run it twice. If it works twice, keep running. On 3rd down, they went to Myers, and they're getting matchups. First time on Sapp, the linebacker. That time on Eric Norwood, the linebacker. And Stanzi is exploiting the coverage. Again, these guys, Norwood is known as a pass rusher, and Sapp is in there for a nickel or defensive back. They can't handle the matchup right now with Brandon Myers, the fine tight end for Iowa.
And he has really emerged as a senior. They go to some trickery, and they do not fool Captain Mutterlin. The junior cornerback dropped Andy Brodell, the speeding wide receiver, for a loss of about 5.
Ken O'Keefe being aggressive with his play calling. You'll see Captain right here. He's on what they call a corner blitz. He saw it all the way. He's on blocked, not suckered. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they have some type of pass like that. If they catch him in a corner blitz again, you might have something open over the top. But Captain's a solid football player, aggressive out there on the corner.
This is a matchup of 2 of the best defensive teams in the country. Here's Green on 2nd and 15. Got the lost yardage back and perhaps another yard or 2. Munnerlin again in on the stop for South Carolina. The Gamecocks are 12th in the nation in total defense in their first year under Ellis Johnson. That's a big improvement. Last year they were 56th in the country in total defense. And they're still 12th in total defense, despite the fact that in those last 2 games against Florida and Clemson, they gave up a total of 87 points and 902 yards. So they were tremendous for the first 10 games of the year.
And they're not very good on 3rd down defense at 35%, and that's what hurt them so far this first drive.
Iowa's converted twice, now on 3rd and 8. Again, a lot of time for Stanzi. And for the 3rd down in a row, it's Brandon Myers. From Prairie City, Iowa. He expected to be a backup as a senior, but Tony Moyaki was injured much of the year. Myers got the chance to play, and as a senior, he's blossomed into an NFL prospect.
Well, I like what they're doing. If they run it once, twice, 3 times. Ellis Johnson did a good job of countering by putting LaCorn, a safety, on him. LaCorn lost his footing because of the size of Brandon Myers. They'll keep going to him.
3 catches, 37 yards for Myers, and now a big hole for Sean Green, showing his power as he bounced off hits inside the 10 and very close to another 1st down. Chris Culliver made the tackle, and a good block to lead the way from the fullback, Wade Leppert.
And look, he doesn't get touched, Sean, until he gets to the 2nd level. And once he gets speed, his power becomes more evident. He's a strong running back. He loves to lower that shoulder. He plays at such a low center of gravity. It's tough to get a good shot on him because of his pad level. Low man always wins.
Lots of his yards, almost half after contact this season. He's 5'11", 235 pounds from Sicklersville, New Jersey. Gets the call, has the first down, twists inside the 5. Tackled by Jasper Brinkley, a senior from Thompson, Georgia.
What makes Sean Green attractive as a running back is you never see him fall backward or sideways. He's always falling forward. And guys, when they hit him, especially defensive backs, it's like they're repelled by him, and he just makes it bounce off you. He's such a good instinctive runner, and he's a tough runner and doesn't shy away from the contact. In fact, he looks for the contact.
Impressive opening drive for Iowa. First and goal. Under 8.5 to go in the first half, in the first quarter rather, and Green shot down by Jordan Lindsay. Lindsay talked about Green during the week. He said, we're not stressed out, to use his phrase, about facing Sean Green. We faced good running backs all season long.
Well, and Ellis Johnson was a little stressed out when we talked to him yesterday. And that's just a natural reaction from a defensive coordinator when you got maybe the best, well, the best back in the country, the Doak Walker Award winner. But Ellis did a good job right there. Also, Darian Stewart came up and blitzed on that.
Second and goal from the 6. Stanzi throws on the run, goal line, touchdown Iowa. Trey Strauss, the junior, with the first score of 2009.
They talked about the accuracy of Ricky Stanzi on the run, and Trey Strauss from Avon Lake, Ohio, up there in their mentor in Cleveland. Runs a nice little out cut, and Ricky Stanzi puts the ball on the number, so Trey does not have to work and just stretches the ball across the end zone. Iowa sends a message, we're here to play.
And the extra point up and good off the foot of Daniel Murray. What a drive by Iowa. 13 plays. Took over 7 minutes off the clock, and an early message sent in 2009 by the Hawks.
I'm Jeff Smith, president of Outback Steakhouse. We are extremely proud of our long-term relationship with the Outback Bowl. I'd like to thank all of our Outbackers around the country and around the world that make all of this possible. We are very excited to be here today to witness another great matchup with two teams rich in college football tradition, the Iowa Hawkeyes and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Good luck to all the fans, coaches, and players. Enjoy the game.
And this Outback Bowl off to an impressive start. Trey Strauss, the junior, his first touchdown reception of the year on the pass from Ricky Stanzi, who was 4 out of 5 on the drive, including 3 third-down completions to Brandon Myers to keep the chains moving. They had the ball for nearly half of the first quarter, 7 minutes and 21 seconds. And now Daniel Murray will kick off for Iowa, with Chris Culliver, a dangerous return man, back deep. Culliver's a sophomore from Garner, North Carolina, and he's upended at the 28 by Sean Prater. Here come the Gamecocks on offense. They have struggled mightily on the offensive side of the ball all year. 97th in the country in total offense. And Stephen Garcia, one of 3 different quarterbacks who has started this year for the Cogs. Redshirt freshman from right here in Tampa. Started games, 2 games during the regular season. Did not start the regular season finale. Chris Smelly started and went all the way against Clemson. Matt Kroll drives back Mike Davis on the first play from scrimmage for about a 3-yard loss. Garcia, a highly touted prospect coming out of Jefferson High School, facing one of the best defenses in the country, including Mitch King, the defensive lineman of the year in the Big Ten, playing in his 45th game for Iowa. All of them starts. Matt Kroll making a school record 50th straight start right next to King. And they are strong up the middle. Pat Anger, the middle linebacker, their leading tackler, and has 5 interceptions. 2nd and 13. Garcia throws an interception. Picked off by Tyler Sash. And the freshman with another big play for Iowa. They brought it back to the 18-yard line. And it's more of the same now for South Carolina. The 25th interception they've thrown this season. That is tied for the national high with SMU.
He's trying to hit Wesley Saunders, a tight end, down the middle of the field. And Sash is just playing zone defense. He understands the rules that Norm Parker teaches. Deep of the deepest, just playing a little center field. Make a play on the ball.
The ball was intercepted. After the play was over, the personal foul. Pretty cool. Personal foul. Number 76. These fouls offset. First down Iowa.
John McDade is the referee leading our Big East officiating crew. So the interceptions, the turnovers continue to kill South Carolina. They threw 4 interceptions, all by Smelly, in their regular season finale loss to Clemson. And we mentioned now at 25, tied for the national lead with SMU for most interceptions thrown. You don't want to be at the top of that graphic. There's Iowa right back on offense, and it's Sean Green ahead for 3 after a 19-yard interception return by Sash.
It was interesting attending the 2 practices this week, and I'm not saying one way's better than the other, but South Carolina's was a little bit more carefree and laid back. And when I went to Iowa practice right after the South Carolina practice, Sean, it looked like a training camp practice. I mean, they were hitting and getting after it. Right now, that seems to be the way for this football team.
Here's Green running right. And a great cutback ability to get inside the 10. Down to the 5. Chris Cullen with a tackle. 10 yards and a first down. Here's Rob.
Hey, Sean, Iowa's opening drive really got the attention quickly. The old head coach. You know it's dicey for your defense when Spurrier, the offensive mind, is coming over your defense after the first series to talk to them and kind of lift them up. And then, Chris, I found this interesting. The coaching, all kinds of verbal contact with the linebackers. Not so much the secondary, the front guys. A lot of talk to the linebackers all the way up into that interception.
That's because they were getting beat on the run and they're getting beat on the pass. So you need to talk to them and say, hey, don't get beat on the run and don't get beat on the pass.
Stanzi might be changing the play. Got the snap with 1 on the play clock. Zings one. It is incomplete. Darrell Johnson Koulianos, their leading receiver, tried to sell the officials that he made the catch, but they were well positioned and said the ball hit the natural grass.
Stanzi does a good job of throwing it where only his guy could get it. Yeah, that ball's out and rolling on the grass. Johnson Koulianos, outstanding hands, and has been Stanzi's favorite target throughout the year. He did a nice job, and we get to see it on the replay, but escaping the press coverage. He did a little spin move.
He's really emerged late in the season as the favorite target for Stanzi. Stanzi, quarterback draw. Whoa, did he get stood up, but he bounced off the hit and got to the goal line. No signal. They'll mark him down just short. Welcome to the goal line, said Eric Norwood, the hard-hitting junior linebacker for South Carolina.
Watch Sean Green take off right up the middle. That's telling you draw, draw, draw. Sean Green gets a block. Everybody's blocking downfield. You have Norwood and Culver coming over and taking down the big 6'5" Ricky Stanzi short of the goal. Sneak it right here. Jump over the top.
Stanzi's nearly 6'5". He gives it to Green. Touchdown, Iowa. That is the 18th rushing touchdown of the season for Sean Green. That's a single season Iowa record. He was tied with Tavian Banks with 17 apiece. Tavian rushed for 17 touchdowns back in 1997. So another mark in the record books for Sean Green. Daniel Murray's extra point makes it 14-0. 2009, off to a great start for the Hawkeyes of Iowa.
ESPN College Football, the Outback Bowl, is brought to you by Outback Steakhouse, Travar, Southwest, low fares, no hidden fees, and Lexus and their pursuit of perfection.
Well, on Tuesday, one of the great bowl activities, the teams, the bands, the fans over to Clearwater Beach for Bowl Beach Day. Marching bands performed, cheerleaders performed in competitions, including a tug of war, which Iowa won.
Yeah, I was there. I was covering that for ESPN.
No, you were covering yourself in sunblock. That was about the only thing you were covering. Your family enjoying what has been a beautiful week of weather. Near 80 degrees every day for these teams on their visit to the Tampa Bay area. Good kickoff by Daniel Murray down to Chris Culliver at the goal line. And he brings it to the 24. Here's Rob.
Sean, after that interception, Steve Spurrier, and Garcia had a little conversation. Spurrier, with the back, hand on his back, nodding, listening. It was kind of a calming, nurturing tone that Spurrier was having with his quarterback rather than some of the argumentative, visor-tossing exploits that we're used to them. And this is something that the USC staff has really been working on since the end of the regular season. Hey, it ended disappointingly, and the coaching staff said, you know what, we need to kind of pick these guys up a little bit more. There's enough people out there knocking them down right now.
When we talked with Steve Spurrier yesterday, he referred to Vince Lombardi's old adage that when your team is cruising right along, you have to humble them a little bit, and when they're down, you need to help boost them back up. So he's been spending the time before the bowl trying to lift his team back up. Mike Davis, the ball carrier. They were 7-3 and playing well. Then they went down to Steve's old stomping ground in Gainesville and got stomped by the Gators. And then had a week off before they played Clemson. And they got rocked by their in-state rivals, the Tigers, in the final game of the regular season. After the 3-yard run by Davis, here's Garcia taking off and running. He lost the ball, and Iowa has it. Still a scrum now as it's squirted away from Sash, but Iowa does have it, and Garcia has turned it over twice. Christian Ballard knocked it out.
I don't know if this was a called run or not, but Steven Garcia took off early. Let's see. He's back looking to pass. No, that's a pass play. Look at the lineman, and this is his comfort level. He takes off running early. Ballard was able to get a big right paw in there and strip it out. And the former basketball player Tyler Sash, along with Eads, comes in and recovers the football. I was playing at a different level. I mean, South Carolina has to wake up and act like they want to be here. And right now, they don't want to be here.
South Carolina is going to try to regroup right here. I mean, they might be on the verge of getting blown out of the game here in the first quarter if Iowa punches it in again. Timeout. South Carolina, they're down 14-0 in the first quarter. While we were away for the timeout, the replay booth did review to see if it was a fumble. Very close as to whether or not Garcia's knee was down. But after the review, the play stands as called a fumble. And it was close. Watch his knee. It looks like it's almost instantaneous. Yep. The knee hitting the ground and the ball coming out. Not conclusive enough to overturn it. Here's a tight end screen. Tony Moyaki, one of 3 talented tight ends, and he is stopped for a loss by Chris Culliver. Loss about 3 on the play, and then a late flag for some shenanigans, to get that word in early in 2009, away from the ball. And Culliver, after making the tackle, limps off. They really can't afford to lose another defensive back.
He made a heck of a play out there because it was clear sailing. They had it set up well off the play action.
After the play was over. Personal foul. Kicking. Number 1 on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And they have another bonehead play. Captain Munnerlyn kicked somebody. Did I hear that right? Kicking? I didn't know he was a kicker.
Well, they've been getting kicked by Iowa here for the first nearly 12 minutes. The ball goes to the 28-yard line. If South Carolina could do anything wrong, they've managed to do it so far. Sean Green weaves his way down to the 22. 6 more yards for Green. Nathan Pepper made the tackle, and now Green gets up limping. It's going to take a lot to get him to come out for more than a play or two.
You know what? I don't know if this is crazy or not, but if I'm South Carolina, I call timeout. I bring the whole defense over to the sidelines and ask them, if you don't want to play, give me 11 guys over there. I don't care. Line up and come out and play defense. See ball, get ball.
They've already called one timeout to try to rally the troops after the second turnover by South Carolina.
False starts. Number 63, offense. 5-run penalty. Second down.
Julian Vandervelde whistled for the false start, and they're looking at Green's right leg. He's been remarkably durable, averages over 23 carries per game. He's had 11 already here in the first quarter. Let's go back and look at his last carry. He slipped on the logo, it looked. Ooh, and then got his right ankle twisted in the tackle. 2nd and 10. Stanzi one-on-one coverage, and it is incomplete. Intended for Johnson Koulianos. It looked like it might have hit the helmet of Stoney Woodson. He's an excellent cornerback, team leader with 4 interceptions. He was well positioned. Senior in his hometown of Tampa, Florida.
That's a very nice job of Stoney Woodson, looking and leaning, then going up and getting his head turned around, using his head as a battering ram on the football, and going through the hands of the wide receiver. As a defensive back, that's what you want to do, is you want to attack the hands of the wide receiver when the hands go up. Ricky's got to put that ball out there. If you're long, you're never wrong. Don't be short.
Iowa 4 out of 4 on 3rd down. The cock show blitz and then drop back. Stands, he throws a little high over the head of Johnson Koulianos, and Carlos Thomas was eyeing an interception.
Koulianos, incomplete.
Well, it might be a difficult day to throw. There is a gusty breeze here at Raymond James Stadium today. The flags at the top of the stadium are straight out. And when we were down on the field before the game, it was windy at field level as well. The breeze appears to be across the field from the far side as you look at it to the near side. It'll be right to left for Daniel Murray as he ponders this field goal. Sophomore from Iowa City. 5 out of 7 in field goals. Have one of the biggest kicks of the year in college football. In the last second, his 31-yarder handed Penn State its only defeat of the year. And that one's no good. We might have been hoping that that breeze from right to left helped bring it back, but it didn't. And the 45-yarder is wide right. And that's the first good thing to happen to the Gamecocks.
That's a great stop by their defense. They responded to the challenge. Everything looks good. He might have been trying to play that wind a little bit too much. Sean started outside the upright and bring her in with the wind. The wind didn't help him.
And Murray perplexed. He wanted help from the wind. He didn't get it. Maybe that'll wake up the Gamecocks. This 11 a.m. local start might be a little early for them. Garcia on target to Kenny McKinley, the senior from Mableton, Georgia, near Atlanta, the all-time leading receiver in South Carolina history. Broke Sterling Sharp's records. Sidney Rice had a number of records as well. And that's good for 15 yards and a first down on career catch number 202 for McKinley.
He's a good football player. His strengths are his knowledge of the game and his route running. He gets open.
And that throw is too high. Garcia needs to hit on that pass. Mo Brown was open, but the throw was a little bit off target.
He's got to get his feet set. I mean, his eyes drifted a little bit, but they came back, and he saw Mo Brown sneaking across the middle. but he threw a fadeaway, like a fadeaway jumper. Just get your feet set and throw a nice catchable ball, especially when a guy's that wide open. Just get it in the area and let him run underneath it so he can get running.
Garcia faked one way, looked like he wanted to set up a screen, and now gives it to Mike Davis on the short pass. Pat Anger made the tackle. Gain of about 4 as we're under a minute and a half to go in the first quarter. There's no question Garcia has a lot of talent. As Rob Stone mentioned, went to high school not far from here at Tampa Jefferson, threw for over 8,000 yards and 83 touchdowns in high school. Highly recruited. Schools like Oklahoma and Auburn were in it. University of Florida as well. He elected to go play for Steve Spurrier and has had a tumultuous couple of years in Columbia. A couple of scrapes with the law, multiple suspensions. But in recent months, he's been on his best behavior. He knows he's down to his last strike within their football program. And a timeout called by Steve Spurrier with less than a minute to go in the first quarter. Steve Spurrier's team got off to a good start. They were 5-2 at 1.7-3, but they've struggled to score all year. They come into this one at under 22 points per game, 92nd in the country in scoring offense. They've started 3 different quarterbacks. Beecher, the opener, smelling most of the game since. They were 7-3 before they got annihilated in the last 2 games by Florida and Clemson. 87 points. The turnovers were the big problem. They turned it over 8 times, 4 times in each of those 2 losses. They've given it away twice already today. 3rd and 6, and Garcia has his man McKinley again. First down, South Carolina at the Iowa 36, the pickup of 17.
Jeremiah Hunter has got to understand the down and distance. The linebacker jumped the underneath route, and what they did was they high-load him. You see Jeremiah right there, number 42 in your screen. See him go to the underneath coverage? If he gets back and gets distance, he'll force Garcia to throw over the top so your safety and corner will have time to make a play. Let that stuff go underneath.
Garcia forced to retreat. A long way back, and now throws, and it's caught near the line of scrimmage by Patrick DeMarco, the sophomore fullback, who's the nephew of the PGA Tour golf star Chris DeMarco, who's a Florida Gator and a diehard Florida Gator and a friend of Steve Spurrier. When Patrick was recruited, a lot of people said, oh, maybe that's just Spurrier throwing a bone to his old buddy Chris DeMarco. But Patrick DeMarco has proven he can play and play well at this level.
And he certainly has. A tough kid playing the fullback position for the Gamecocks.
The end of the first quarter, Iowa leads South Carolina 14-0 at the Outback Bowl. Back in Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, it'll host the Super Bowl in a month. Inside of the Outback Bowl today, Iowa dominated the first quarter. They lead 14-0. They had the ball for over 11 minutes. Ran 23 plays to 9 for South Carolina. First play of the second quarter, thrown into traffic but caught. Stephen Garcia's pass a bit wobbly, but he found Jason Barnes, the freshman, and it's good for a first down. They got 12 on 2nd and 11.
Well, Garcia does a good job of setting his feet and throwing a strike, and that's a good throw for him. That will build his confidence because he had to throw Barnes open. That means in coverage, you got to put it where only your boy Barnes can get it, and that's exactly what he did. Here's a funky formation.
You know you're going to get a few odd formations from Steve Spurrier. Garcia had trouble with the snap. Now he's trying to improvise, looking for a block, and there's a flag thrown. As Mike Davis tried to help him with the block, it might have been an illegal block. A.J. Eads involved in the stop. Junior outside linebacker.
Personal foul. Legal block, below the waist.
What they try to do is fake the screen and run a quarterback draw. They spread everybody out. Take a look right here. There's a big offensive lineman, big offensive tackles out there. They spread them out to try to run the quarterback draw. See the chop block, which I wasn't aware that was illegal. I thought you could chop a guy under the knees. If you're a little running back trying to take on the maniac Mitch King, you don't want to hit him high. You want to take him down low. He didn't even hit him. He missed him.
It's a big flag. The ball goes back to the 40-yard line. 1st and 25. Mitch King anxious to get involved in the play again. Ran over the center, Garrett Anderson.
There's a little chirping going on down there. Everybody's pointing to everybody.
Apparently the referee's microphone is not working. They might want to get that fixed before the Super Bowl.
The other thing, Sean, I think South Carolina was pointing to the Iowa defense, saying that they're mimicking our cadence. So they're getting guys to move and jump, and that's an old trick that I heard people used to use.
Kirk Ferentz has Iowa in a bowl game for the 7th time in the last 8 years. On 1st and 30, Mo Brown is swung down at the 39 by Pat Anger. Of course, a lot of speculation in the last day or two about Kirk Ferentz. He's been extremely successful in his 10 years in Iowa City. Took over a program that was way down and quickly built it back up. A couple of Big Ten titles, twice the Conference Coach of the Year. And he has spent time in the NFL, came back to Iowa City to be the head coach after a 6-year tour with the Cleveland Browns / Baltimore Ravens. Here's a deep throw. Fluttered up there in the wind, and it's picked off by Bradley Fletcher. Intended for Jason Barnes. And that looked like one that might have been knocked down a bit by the wind. 3rd turnover, all committed by Garcia. 2 interceptions and a lost fumble.
Well, Norm Parker was saying how pleased he's been with Bradley Fletcher, who does a good job, and the ball's underthrown. You got to account for the wind, and you got to throw that out, especially when Barnes is behind Fletcher. And that's why you get tired of hearing me say it, but if you're long, you're never wrong, and your guy can only get the ball. Or in that case, you got Barnes at 6'4", at least throw it up in the air so he can go get it. Longtime coordinator Norm Parker keeps it simple, lets the guys play, eliminate thought.
He's a terrific coach. He's been with Kirk Ferentz the entire 10 years in Iowa City. Norm now 67 years old. He's matched wits with Steve Spurrier before. We're reviewing the previous play to make sure Fletcher caught it in the end zone, had possession. Norm's defense, if that stands now, is 22 interceptions for the year. They came in 7th in the nation with 20 picks during the regular season.
Well, now the front side, they had normal split on the front
No
side.
doubt that it is an interception. The question is, should it be a touchback or should they mark the ball outside the goal line, near the goal line?
Nice job of Fletcher of turning and getting his head around, getting his hips turned around in position to make a play on the football. I want to go back to Norm Parker, the longtime defensive coordinator. You know, you're in an age where everybody tries to create and invent exotic offenses, exotic defenses. When you watch Iowa, every time we do Iowa, when we talk to the opposing coaches, they always tell us they keep it simple, and they're solid in what they do, and they play tough and hard, and they're sound in their techniques, and they don't give up things over the top.
Well, they're still reviewing it right now. They have the ball marked at the 2. 3rd interception of his senior season for Bradley Fletcher. 5th of his career. He's out of Youngstown, Ohio. And the Iowa defense solid in all those numbers. 10th in rush defense, 13th total defense, 8th in the most important category, points allowed. You have to think one of the reasons why Kirk Ferentz has been successful and year after year has NFL teams interested in him is because of the continuity. He has excellent coordinators and an outstanding staff. And they've been there the entire 10 years. Have Ken O'Keefe, the offensive coordinator, and Norm Parker.
Yeah, and he weathers the storm. I mean, he's had some rough years at Iowa, and he weathers it. He just keeps going, and he believes in his system. in what he does. And I watched him work in practice. Sean, he coaches the offensive line. They don't take a break. For example, when they're doing passing drills, 7-on-7s called with the backs and wide receivers, the offensive linemen don't take a knee and watch. They're over there working one-on-ones, and he's the one that's coaching those guys. He's an excellent football coach, and I think he'd be a great NFL coach. I really do. I think the Big Ten and Iowa would lose if he leaves, but I think he'd be very successful at the next level.
His name is being mentioned very prominently with the opening with the Cleveland Browns. Mentioned he has a history in Cleveland. He was with the now Ravens franchise. Brett Morse, the fullback, the catch out of the backfield. Kirk Ferentz was an assistant to Bill Belichick in Cleveland. Made the move to Baltimore. Romeo Crennel and Phil Savage, the GM, just dismissed, and they're looking to reestablish some stability. Most of the reports in recent days have the Browns focused on Scott Pioli, the outstanding front office executive with the Patriots, who helped build their Super Bowl teams. They bring him in to run the football operation. He has a connection to Ferentz. They work together with Belichick in Cleveland. Sean Green runs and has a first down to the 32. And how about the story Kirk Ferentz told us yesterday? He was the head coach at the University of Maine. Went in an interview to be the line coach with the Cleveland Browns with Bill Belichick. So I walked in for the interview. Bill had on, his usual sweatpants, hoodie kind of outfit. I had on a suit and tie. I realized I was badly overdressed for this process. So I went in to see Art Modell, the owner. He said, "Well, you here to sell us some insurance?" So he left thinking, "I'm not sure I'm going to get this job." And he was driven back to the airport by Scott Pioli, who told him, "No, I think you did very well. You're probably going to be our line coach." And that's the way it worked out. Stanzi is a man wide open. Tony Moyaki upended at the 30-yard line of South Carolina. They'll mark it at the 29. Chris Culliver saved the touchdown. 39 yards on the completion of the tight end Moyaki.
Well, this is what Ellis Johnson was worried about, going from a 4-2-5 to a 4-3 when you have a guy not committed to staying in school. You see all the linebackers, everybody jumping up, and Moyaki just sneaks out. There's no linebackers in any underneath coverage. Culliver's back in too deep zone. He can't cover the outside deep part of the field. That's not his job. And when you try to switch defenses and switch schemes, you think you have it, but don't forget this other team knows what you're doing too. And they knew that Cook was going to be ineligible.
First time out of...
Maybe during one of these timeouts they could fix John McDade's mic. The sideline was hollering for a timeout, and they got it just before the snap. Sean Green of Iowa, first Hawkeye to win the Doak Walker Award as the nation's best running back. He was selected from among the three finalists, Javon Ringer of Michigan State and Noshawn Moreno of Georgia. The other two finalists are in action. They're going head-to-head in about an hour over the Florida Citrus Bowl in Orlando as Georgia takes on Michigan State. Top three running backs in the country, at least according to the Doak Walker voters, all in action today here in Florida.
You and I thought Donald Brown should have at least been a finalist for that, the fine running back from UConn.
I think he should have been in there instead of Noshawn Moreno. He's a fine back. To me, didn't have the same kind of year the others had. Jordan Lindsay drops Green for a loss of a yard back to the 30. Donald Brown led the nation in rushing by nearly 8 yards per game over Sean Green. Javon Ringer was next.
All of them are excellent backs. Quail Lewis from Ball State, a 5'6", but a power back.
Iowa leading 14-0, trying to get the first win of this bowl season for the Big Ten Conference. Sean Green drags Jasper Brinkley for a yard or two before the linebacker got him down at the 21, about 2 yards short of the first down.
This offensive line is dominating. I mean, the challenge for Ellis Johnson, and this is, I think, his nightmare coming through that kept him up at nights. The challenge was their front seven versus the Iowa offensive line. And right now, they are changing the line of scrimmage. All that means is they're pushing the South Carolina front seven back off the line of scrimmage 2 or 3 yards. And you notice when Sean Green runs, he's not getting touched until he's 2 or 3 yards past the line of scrimmage.
After they routed Minnesota in their last regular season game, Sean Green grabbed the game ball and gave it to the offensive line. He has great appreciation for what those young men do for him to help them win these awards. Big Ten offensive MVP, unanimous first team all conference. That 6-yard run gives him a first down. Darian Stewart made the tackle at the 15-yard line.
An offensive line gets, the only way they get pleasure in life is when they start pounding people. And I'm watching guys high-five each other. And when they see Sean running hard, that motivates them to stay on their blocks that much longer, to drive their guy, bury their guy.
Green tried to get outside, then turned it inside behind the block of Brian Bulaga, the left tackle. Jasper Brinkley made the tackle. Big Ten is 0-3, and they're running out of chances to win a bowl game in this season. As a matter of fact, Iowa entering today seemed to be their best remaining hope to win a bowl game. Michigan State an underdog in the Capital One Bowl later today. Penn State also an underdog, and I know you don't think Ohio State should be an underdog against Texas, but they are. So Iowa might be the last best hope here after the losses by Wisconsin, Northwestern, and Minnesota. On 2nd and 7, Ricky Stanzi. He is good with his feet. He has a first down. He gets rocked to the goal line. Touchdown.
This is one of the things that Kirk Ferentz and Ken O'Keefe, the offensive coordinator, love about this kid. He's a competitor. He makes a decision to run, and he doesn't do the old baseball slide. My guys are blocking. They're working hard. Let me do my best imitation of Sean Green. And it was just enough.
One is the first rushing touchdown of his career. Flags before the extra point. They're going to look, perhaps, to see if it was a touchdown, because it was very close at the goal line. Marvin Sapp gave Stanzi a stick. And you're right, Chris. When we spoke with Kirk Ferentz yesterday and asked him what he liked about Stanzi, the first thing he said was his toughness, both physical and mental toughness. And it does look like his knee was down before that ball got to the goal line.
Well, the thing I love about him, and they made the switch, and this was hard for them to do. I mean, Christensen was a starting quarterback, and it wasn't like he was horrible, but they made the switch to go to Ricky Stanzi. And when Ricky Stanzi comes in and loses the next 2 ball games, and by the way, doesn't play very well, they stuck to their guns because they saw something in this kid, and they saw him move the football, move the team up and down the field. They just couldn't finish off drives. So they let him grow with the position and grow with the offense, and it's paid dividends as the season has gone on.
Well, they're reviewing it to see if Stanzi did break the plane with the ball at the goal line. Iowa started the season very well in non-conference play. They went 3-0 with 3 shutouts. Then they lost 3 games in a row, including Stanzi's first 2 starts. Where he settled in after they lost to heartbreaker Michigan State to drop to 3-3. Mitch King said, we're going to win out and go to a New Year's Day Bowl. And he was very close. Their only loss in the last 6 games was on a last-minute field goal at Illinois, a 3-point loss. There are 4 losses for Iowa this year by a combined 12 points. So they easily could have had a much better season than the very solid 8-4 that has Coach Ferentz satisfied.
And that's what Coach Ferentz and Ricky talked about, that Coach Ferentz always preaches that you take the good with the bad, and you don't waver, and you don't deviate from your plan. And the beauty about Iowa And I've watched Iowa and played against Iowa since the 80s. They don't change. They're not going to adjust. They're going to do what Iowa does, and that's their game plan. We'll do what Iowa does, and we're not changing for anybody, no matter what they do. And there's a good football coach. It takes a lot of grief at Iowa, but he's done a good job over the years. Offensive coordinator Ken O'Keefe.
But when things don't go well, he tends to get a lot of the criticism in Iowa. Well, they had that great run of a couple years, then the last 2 or 3 were mediocre by the high standards that this staff established. They were bowl eligible last year at 6-6, but did not get selected to go to a game. Ken O'Keefe, a successful head coach at Fordham and D3 Allegheny College. They ruled it no touchdown. He was just short. So first and goal, and it's still 14-0, and that just gives Green a chance to add to the record. Another rushing touchdown for Sean Green, and it's 20-0 Hawkeyes with just over 8 minutes to go in the half.
He's tough to stop down there, isn't he? He gets that momentum going, that power, just dives over the end zone. Tough to stop a moving bowling ball or cannonball shot out of a cannon.
Daniel Murray adds the extra point. Maybe they can shoot him out of the Buccaneer camp.
There you go. Ahoy, matey.
Another 80-yard drive. It took 5 minutes, capped by Green. 21-0 Hawkeyes.
ESPN College Football, the Outback Bowl, is brought to you by triple rewards of your choice at CapitalOne.com. What's in your wallet? Aflac, ask about it at work. And Acura. Visit shopacura.com during the Drive Home for the Holidays event. Acura, advance.
And Monday night of this past week was team night at GameWorks in Tampa. Players from both teams enjoying games, great food down in Ybor City in downtown Tampa, just a couple of miles away from Raymond James Stadium, where the Hawkeyes are dominating South Carolina. Sean Green's second touchdown of the game has made it 21-0. And Daniel Murray's kickoff went spinning down to Chris Culliver at the 4. And a good return near the 30. Cody Coleman made the tackle, 25-yard return. It's been a rough start in his native Tampa for Stephen Garcia. He's turned it over 3 times. Interception, a lost fumble, and then another interception.
I think what South Carolina might want to do to relieve some pressure from Stephen Garcia is get number 10, Brian Maddox, involved, who's in at running back right now, to establish something on the ground.
Which they haven't been able to do all year long, averaging 98 yards per game rushing. They do give it to Maddox, and he scampered ahead for about 7. Tyler Sash made the tackle. They're 108th in the country out of 119 teams in rushing. They're last in the SEC. There's been a lot of talk, Chris, about the progress of South Carolina under Steve Spurrier. He's in his 4th year, 7-5 in his 4th year. He's had 3 winning seasons, and last year a 500 record. When they collapsed late in the year, did not make a bowl game. But it's staggering when you look at those pathetic offensive numbers to think that one of the legendary offensive coaches in the history of college football could be overseeing a team that has been so anemic offensively.
Well, and his whole offense, like so many offenses in the country, is based on the trigger guy. And if you have average trigger guys, you're going to have average offenses under this type of offense, which isn't a power game. It's not based off of play action. It's spread the field, high-low you, and throw to the open guy. Well, if you haven't had consistency at the quarterback position, you're going to struggle.
There's Chris Smelly, who was the starter for most of the year, the sophomore from Tuscaloosa. Like Garcia, highly touted recruit. And after 2 carries for 10 yards and a first down for Maddox, Garcia carries, and Broderick Binns made the stop. But of course, throughout the years, Steve Spurrier's relationships with his quarterbacks have been much analyzed. He's demonstrative. They tend to bear the brunt of his acerbic humor. As Kenny McKinley told us yesterday, Steve Spurrier is one of the funniest guys I've ever met, as long as it's not directed at you.
Yeah, he's hard on quarterbacks, but you know what? You know that going in. It's like playing for Bobby Knight. You know what you're going to get when you go.
Jason Barnes the catch, and they're moving methodically near another first down at the 48-yard line. Tyler Sash made the tackle.
You see number 10, Brian Maddox, in there, another ESPNU Summerhouse alum. Had to spend the summer with him.
Yeah, he saw you at the hotel yesterday and said hello. Just hosted an ESPNU show where some prospects stayed with him and benefited from his mentoring. Garcia didn't get anywhere. He went backwards. On third down and less than a yard, that Iowa defensive front with those stalwarts, Mitch King in his 45th career start and Matt Kroll in a school record 50th straight start. They combined to drive Garcia back.
Hey, Sean, you picked the impact players for Iowa. Matt Kroll, Mitch King, Pat Enger. Look what three guys are in there on the play, along with Claiborne, the defensive end. Those guys are tough to move. I love the call by Coach Spurrier right here. Make something happen. You're down 21-0. Give it a shot.
Fourth down and 2. They've been good on fourth downs this year. 11 out of 16. Quick throw by Garcia, and they convert to McKinley. And he's to the 43 of the Hawkeyes with a first down. 10-yard gain. So Steve Spurrier known for taking chances, and that was a pretty easy decision to make with his team down 21-0. Reminiscent of the last two games in the regular season when they fell behind big early to Florida and Clemson and never really got back in either game.
I like the call going to Kenny McKinley, the playmaker, the senior. Get him involved.
One of the holdovers, as McKinley was recruited by the Lou Holtz staff that preceded Steve Spurrier. Garcia threw it up for grabs, and Sash has another. Picked up a couple of helpful blocks, and now it is punched out by Jared Cook, the tight end, and the Gamecocks appear to have it back. And they do at the 26-yard line. Well, one official said they did. Now the referee, McDade, steps out and says Iowa has it back. Jeremiah Hunter.
The ball's late. The ball's late on arrival. Tyler Sash, the ex-point guard, making a steal, undercutting a route, and staying with the football, showing great ball skills, then getting rid of Kenny McKinley. Now look how loose the ball is. Cook does a great job of hustling back for his team and has the awareness to punch the ball. Maddox misses it trying to pick it up. Then you got the scrum in the fight. And out of the scrum in the fight, Jeremiah Hunter wins the prize, finds the treasure.
Umpire Jim Eckel signaled Iowa, or rather Iowa ball, and then the Gamecocks ball, and then it went over to Iowa on the reconvening. And now what is this one going to be? It's going to be an interception by Chris Culliver. Jump ball up for grabs. Tony Moyaki was the intended receiver, and Culliver has the takeaway. The first of the day for the Gamecocks.
Well, 2 points. I love the call by Ken O'Keefe to go for the jugular. But Ricky Stanzi has to throw the ball to the outside shoulder. You can't throw the ball into the safety. Culliver's coming over from safety position. He doesn't have a long way to go. That ball's thrown inside. Actually, Culliver's playing on the corner. That ball's thrown into the inside. You have to throw the ball to the outside shoulder, away from the coverage.
Third interception of the season for Culliver. Sophomore from Garner, North Carolina. Much needed big play by the South Carolina defense. Well, after 4 turnovers committed by the South Carolina offense, the Gamecock defense has its first takeaway of the day. And the Cocks back on offense from their own 20. Jason Barnes, the quick connection from Garcia. And he goes for nearly 9. Time for the Aflac trivia question. Aflac! You want to know which head coach has the most wins in this bowl game, the Outback Bowl?
You were on it.
I knew the answer in that meeting last night, so I'm going to let you, and well, you know, because I blurted it out.
Well, I do it too. I just said the wrong answer. Test you.
Did your professors at Ohio State buy that excuse when you kept learning out the wrong answers? You tell them you were just testing the professor?
Yes. I want to make sure you know what you're teaching.
Mike Davis, the ball carrier, looks like he got the first down. They're going to mark it right on the 30. Final game for Davis. Their leading rusher is a senior, but only 571 yards rushing. Back up to Corey Boyd the last couple of years. It is a first down. They have only one timeout left. They used a couple early to try to stop Iowa's momentum. And that was nearly another interception as it hit the hands of Davis and then clanged off the belly of Jeremiah Hunter, the outside linebacker for Iowa.
You know, South Carolina, Sean's 38th in sacks allowed, and they haven't sacked Stephen Garcia yet, but they've got a lot of pressure. They're ranked 114th in the country in sacks allowed. And a lot of this is pressure, and Garcia's out of his comfort zone. His feet aren't set, and he can't move.
There's so many bad numbers for their offense, you can't get them all on the screen. That's one of them that we haven't had up there. 38 sacks allowed by South Carolina. Over 3 per game. One of the worst teams in the country, as you said, Chris. And Garcia using his feet to avoid a sack and then gets shoved out of bounds. Back at the 27-yard line. Chased out by Pat Anger. Well, we want to know which coach has the most wins in Outback Bowl history. He has a lot of wins. Joe Paterno, Penn State, the winningest team in the history of the Outback Bowl at 3-0. Of course, Joe coached in the Rose Bowl later today in one of the marquee matchups of this bowl season against USC, the other USC.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. Penn State will be ready to play.
3rd and 13. Garcia throws on the run and a little bit too long for Mo Brown, with coverage provided by Bradley Fletcher. And South Carolina will punt.
It'll be interesting to see what Kirk Ferentz decides to do, whether he's going to come and get the block. I would think I would take a shot at the block. I mean, your defense is playing well. Why not get momentum? It depends a lot on the scouting report, though. If you see something you can exploit on their punt protection, you try it here and try it now.
Track athlete Andy Brodell back for the punt. Lanning had one blocked in the regular season finale against Clemson. This is a low line drive. And Brodell bobbled it for a second at the 30. And apparently he made a fair catch signal. Looked like he might have been trying to shield the sun, and the officials took that as a fair catch signal.
I thought
43-yard punt.
I just thought the hand had to go over the head. That's all.
Brodell said, I was just looking into the sun. Sean Green starring on New Year's Day. Well, here's a look at the last punt. Andy Brodell just putting his hand up to shield his eyes from the sun. He's looking right into it. Never did wave the arm back and forth. The officials took that to be a fair catch signal, and Andy knows the rules, because the rule book says a valid signal of a fair catch is a signal given by a player who is obviously signals intention by extending one hand only clearly above his head and waving that hand from side to side of his body more than once. If the receiver shades his eyes from the sun, the ball is live and may be advanced.
There you go, right in the rule book.
Andy had a legitimate beef there. Sean Green slides down with a 7-yard run to the 37-yard line. Captain Munnerlyn made the tackle. 2 timeouts left for Iowa, trying to build on a 21-0 lead with less than 2 minutes to go in the half. Green's up to 77 yards rushing on 18 carries. He has 2 rushing touchdowns.
It's amazing. He's gone 12 games with 100 yards, and you know that they're running the ball, and yet you can't stop him. And that's a credit not only to Sean, but to that offensive line and how they come off the ball and run block.
First player ever in Iowa history to run for 100 yards, 12 games in a row, and he's on his way to 13. They go back to the air. Darrell Johnson-Culianos, a first down in a Gamecock territory at the 45. Let's check in with Reese Davis, see what's coming up at the half.
Hello, Sean, and Happy New Year. We will look ahead to the showdown on ABC this afternoon. Penn State and USC in the Rose Bowl game presented by Citi. Bowling on New Year's Day, and Dr. Lou's here. See you.
All right, Reese, we'll look forward to it. Tony Moyaki the catch, and he quickly got out of bounds at the 38-yard line, a gain of 7. Iowa briskly on the move again. Directed by Ricky Stanzi. Like so many Iowa Hawkeyes, not a highly touted recruit. He was looking at Akron and Miami of Ohio, coming out of high school football in Ohio. Went to visit Iowa, and he said he knew when he visited everything about the environment and the attitude around the program appealed to him. As he says, when you're giving 110% at Iowa, that means you're just one of the guys like everybody else. His pass is deflected up in the air, and it was Eric Norwood who deflected it. It looked like 3 Gamecocks had a chance to pick it off, and apparently one of the Gamecocks has. Jasper Brinkley. Eric Norwood, so versatile, so talented, got his hands on it, up in the air it went, and then Brinkley picked it off.
This is tough to do for a 6'1 linebacker to block a 6'5 pass. And Stanzi, the ball's thrown well, but Norwood, knowing that he can't get in there, is able to time the leap. Then Jasper Brinkley coming up with the football, fighting for it. Good job by South Carolina's defense responding again.
First interception of the season for Brinkley. He was second team All-SEC. Gamecocks come out throwing. McKinley caught it, but he was out of bounds. Eric Norwood says he's 50-50 if he'll be back. They have quite a few juniors who are pondering going into the NFL draft. The coaches think that's the reason why Emmanuel Cook didn't really study very hard and wound up academically ineligible, because the junior safety is heading for the draft. Jared Cook, the junior tight end, could be leaving early to go try his luck in the NFL.
Yeah, that's the decision that they have to make. You'd like to see guys like Emmanuel Cook at least carried over into the bowl game for your teammates.
Garcia's throw too high. Well, it's been an ugly end of the year. We mentioned the back-to-back one-sided losses to Florida and Clemson. Then right after the season ended, the players had a players-only meeting. Kenny McKinley said it lasted a long time. A lot of guys had a lot to say, and that's not always a good sign.
No, I don't think. I think players-only meetings are a waste of time. I mean, if you have to talk about at the end of the year what we need to do to win and to execute, you got bigger problems in a players-only meeting.
Well, Steve Spurrier retained a sense of humor. He said, hey, the season ending wasn't that bad, 0-2. Last year we lost 5 in a row in the year. Garcia runs, and he has a first down and goes out of bounds at the 45 to stop the clock with 41 seconds left in the half and a timeout. A 12-yard run for Garcia.
I mean, he wasn't in a hurry to run, which is a good sign for this offense and Coach Spurrier, because that was he was worried about is Steven taking off and running too early. He kept his eyes down the field. Nothing was there. He made sure. Then he took off. He's a good enough athlete with enough explosion and bursts to make something happen without rushing it.
On 1st and 10, he fires another deflected pass off the hands of Jared Cook. But Greenwood eyeing the interception on the ricochet.
That's a matchup they wanted. They had the big tight end, an excellent route runner, pass receiving tight end, matched up with Eads. The ball was just a little off target. He threw the fastball and didn't give Cook time enough to get his head around to catch it.
Cook, an all SEC tight end. Better receiver than blocker. He was first team all conference by the coaches. Flagged down as Garcia scrambles and throws it away.
They're going to get South Carolina hands to the face or hold.
Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face. Offense. 15-yard penalty. Second down.
They're having trouble matching the pass rush intensity of the Hawkeyes. You can see they're coming from everywhere. They do a good job of running stunts, especially inside with number 53, Matt Kroll, and number 47, Mitch King. They're very active in there and quick. And a lot of times they're smaller guys, so the offensive linemen go to strike and their hands come up high and hit them in the face.
Mon Meredith had his hands up on the face of Matt Kroll. Fourth South Carolina penalty, 30 seconds to go in the half, and 2nd and 25 they give it Derek Baker, the true freshman, and he goes nowhere. It looks like the Gamecocks are going to be content to let the half expire. Another brutal first half, as was the case against Florida and Clemson. And not the happy homecoming Stephen Garcia was hoping for, nor has it been a nice return to Tampa for Steve Spurrier, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback and coach of the Tampa Bay Bandits of the USFL. And here's Rob Stone with Coach Spurrier.
Well, Coach, how do you address your quarterback in the locker room?
Yeah, Stephen has struggled a bit, and turnovers and penalties. We got all the penalties. I guess we got all the turnovers. Our defense is, I think, hanging us in the game. But we got to make something happen. We'll try to figure out at halftime what to do differently.
What positives have you seen from his game so far?
Our defense has made a couple good turnovers for us. But other than that, our offense is really struggling right now.
Appreciate your time, Coach.
We're at the half. And Iowa leads South Carolina 21-0. Just 116 yards of offense and 4 turnovers in the half for South Carolina. Now the Flomax halftime report.
This is ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Performing the 2009 National Outback Bowl Mass Band. It's made up of more than 1,100 musicians from 11 high schools representing 8 different states. They've been performing along with 250 dancers here at halftime. During the last song, an emotional moment, 5 U.S. Marines just back from Iraq were honored as they stood with the Marine Color Guard as the final song of the halftime show was played. Well done. On a beautiful day here in Tampa, stirring halftime to begin college football in 2009 at the Outback Bowl. The Iowa Hawkeyes looking for the first win of this bowl season for the Big Ten in the conference's 4th bowl game. All over South Carolina at the half, 21-0. And Chris Spielman, we can dust off the old cliche to begin 2009. South Carolina's fortunate they're behind only 21-0 as they turned it over 4 times. Stephen Garcia with 3 interceptions, and he lost a fumble.
And Iowa's responded, and when you have a running back like Sean Green and you establish the ground game, it's not only helped Iowa control the football and control the clock, but also it's helped Ricky Stanzi. Now, the only reason it's not worse is that Iowa's had a couple turnovers of their own that hurt them going in for touchdowns. But great performance by Iowa so far. We'll see what South Carolina's made of. Remember, they had that horrible finish at the end of the season. They had a players' own meeting. Let's get this all straightened out. Well, they got nothing straightened out the way they're going so far to start the 2009 season.
And it's a continuation of the end of the regular season for South Carolina. Outscored 87-20 in 2 losses to close out the year by Florida and Clemson. They gave up over 900 yards of offense. We talked to Ellis Johnson, the defensive coordinator, yesterday. He said, I didn't think the defense was that bad in those games. The offense turned it over 8 times. We were put in some tough spots, and that's really the case again today. You look at the scoreboard and say the defense gave up 21. They didn't play well, but they were working against a short field to defend a lot of that half and did a pretty decent job.
Yeah, and so Coach Spurrier said it to Rob going into the locker room at halftime was that, that our defense has kept it this close by creating turnovers, and they've responded to challenge, but they got to stiffen up against the run, because if they don't, then that's just only going to give Iowa momentum. Sean Green feeds off running the football, and the offensive linemen feed off of it. They get more physical. Then Ken O'Keefe and Kirk Ferentz will hit the play action right over top. It happens every time they play.
Here's Rob Stone.
Well, Sean, as you can imagine, not much to really talk about with Kirk Ferentz as he came out. No real problems with him, and he kind of gave me that look like, hey, man, we're at 30 minutes. We just need to not screw this up, essentially. But I asked him, anything you expect from Steve Spurrier in the offense? And he said, I don't know, maybe a quarterback change. I don't think that would happen. I'd be very surprised if Spurrier makes a change, but Iowa just kind of reaching for anything to find problems with or something to adjust with or just 2 in the second half. They're doing just fine.
Well, we spoke with Steve Spurrier yesterday. He's had the revolving door with his quarterbacks, 3 starters this year, and of course that's his history. The quick hook over the years from time to time with quarterbacks. He said, we plan to give Steven Garcia this whole game. We let Smelly have the entire Clemson game, even though he did not play very well. Garcia was a little bit under the weather that day, which made that decision easier. But Steve Spurrier, with an eye toward the 2009 regular season, wants to see more of what he has here in the highly touted Steven Garcia.
I think it's a good move, and I don't think we'll see a quarterback change for that exact reason, to see what he can look forward to, at least when spring football rolls around.
Iowa kicks off. Daniel Murray down to the 11, into the arms of Chris Culliver. Trying to go all the way across the field, and he does. There are flags down, however, as Culliver crossed the 40 and went out at the 42. But there are 2 flags down, 31-yard return. Colin Sandeman chased Culliver out. Well, Garcia does not have a helmet on, and Smelly does. So perhaps Steve Spurrier's plan to give Garcia the whole game has changed in progress.
Well, 3 interceptions and a fumble will do that. And I can understand both sides. I thought that he would want to see Steven Garcia and give him an opportunity to grow. But this move tells me that he's in it for this game. And he's given his chance the best opportunity to win. And right now he thinks Smelly is that guy to give them the best opportunity.
Penalty against each team. John McDade leading this Big East officiating crew, which has gotten rave reviews all year. They hired Terry McCauley prior to this season, the highly regarded NFL referee, to oversee.
We had a foul on each team on the play. Holding on the return team, number 16, personal foul, face mask at the end of the run on the kicking team. These fouls offset, re-kick.
They'll do it again. And I think we've noticed, the Big East officiating has always been pretty solid, but it has been excellent all year long. And I think Mike Tranghese, the commissioner, Nick Carparelli in charge of football, and the folks who brought in Terry McCauley deserve a lot of credit, because a lot of the concerns Big East coaches in particular had about officiating, Terry McCauley and this group of officials, they've addressed them.
Well, and I think every conference, and they try to do a good job of constantly improving. It's just like a team. You got to keep getting better. You never stay the same. You get better or you get worse. And the Big East is very stout this year.
So you think I just got invited back to Big East Media Day in Newport next summer?
I'm hoping I'm coming with you after that.
I missed that round of golf. Steve Spurrier, an avid golfer. Says he carries about an 8 handicap these days. I think he's a sandbagger. He still moves it around the fairways and greens pretty well. From time to time, he'll play one of his own players, the field goal kicker Ryan Suckup, and he played in the spring. Steve says he's never lost to one of his players, and he's played about a half dozen or so over the years. Suckup close to a scratch golfer. Shot 79. Steve shot a 77. I imagine the player's a little nervous when they tee it up with the old ball coach. Here's Culliver on the redo, the mulligan, if you will, and he's out to the 33-yard line. Sean Prater made the tackle.
He doesn't give his guys a second chance to play him once he beats him, right?
Yeah. That's what Suckup said. Yeah, Coach, I'd like to have a chance to play you again. He said, nope, that's not going to happen. Steve's taking his win and looking for another game. So here comes Smelly, who's been the starter for most of the season. Like Garcia, highly touted coming out of high school. He's a sophomore from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Started 9 of their 12 regular season games. Tommy Beecher started the opener, and apparently lost confidence in that game. Steve Spurrier said Beecher indicated he really lost the desire to play, and he's been a scout team quarterback ever since. It's been Smelly and Garcia alternating. Both have had good moments. Some have had bad. There's a bad moment on Smelly's first pass. Caught by Mo Brown, and then he fumbled, and it's recovered by A.J. Eves. So it takes only one play from scrimmage in the second half for South Carolina to commit its 5th turnover of the Outback Bowl.
And there's nothing that the quarterback or quarterback coach can do on this. This is all about securing the football after you make the catch. You see right there, Fletcher comes in with a good secure tackle, wrapping his arms as opposed to just trying for the knockout blow. Wrapping the arms, knocking the ball out, and Iowa hustles to the ball, led by A.J. Eads. The second recovery of the day.
Fletcher's been involved in a couple of turnovers. He has an interception and now the forced fumble. And here comes Sean Green rumbling inside the 40 and down to the 36. Tackled by Jasper Brinkley. 19 carries, 84 yards and 2 touchdowns now for Green, on his way to a record 13th straight 100-yard rushing game in what could be his last game as a Hawkeye. He's a junior, has another year of eligibility. But obviously he will draw interest from NFL teams should he make himself available in the draft, and he and Coach Ferentz will visit on that subject when the season's over. Rick has a lot of contacts in the NFL, and he'll get a good read of where Green stands in the minds and eyes of the NFL personnel folks. He carries for a first down with a 6-yard run.
Well, the other thing you got to consider is he's 23 years old and will turn 24 in August. And he's still young as far as wear and tear. I mean, this is the first year where he's had a big workload. I talked to a couple of people, Sean, and I think if you look at Sean, he's probably the 3rd running back if he decides to come out. Behind maybe Chris Wells at Ohio State, another junior, and maybe Noshawn Marino out of Georgia, another junior.
So it's assuming they all come out.
Yep.
And it's anybody's guess at this point. Green carries to the 25-yard line. He started at Iowa in 2005, and that was after a prep year to get his academic house in order. Played for 2 years, was a backup. As a matter of fact, before bowl practice for the Alamo Bowl, the game we did against Texas, they had him working with the defense, thinking he might make a transition over to defensive back. Then he sat out all of last year. He was out of school to deal with academics. Attended a community college in the Iowa City area, but really had no contact with the Iowa football program. Worked in a furniture warehouse, moving furniture and assembling it, loading into cars and trucks to try to support himself. And as Mitch King says, a lot of times when guys come and go, when they go, they don't come back. And Sean Green did everything he needed to do, the community college work, and supported himself. And after a year away, returned in June, badly out of shape by his own admission, worked hard with Chris Doyle, the strength coach. And to go from away from football for a year to the best running back in the country the very next season, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he bucked the odds. The odds are, if you were a betting man, there's no way he's coming back. And a credit to Sean and his family for staying focused and getting the job done.
And he has another first down to the 17. Here's Rob Stone.
Well, guys, if Sean Green does come out, ESPN Scout Sinks Todd McShay told me he's likely to be the 4th or 5th running back taken. And again, Chris and Sean, that's all the other juniors come out as well. Probably early to mid round 2 range. He may lack that elusiveness and top level speed, but he has everything else. He's got that ability, guys, to stay a step ahead of everyone due to his knack for seeing the hole before it opens and the body control to make those quick cuts. And again, like you said, did not play in 07. The wear and tear for the running backs, always a concern for the NFL guys.
That's going to be a plus for Sean, and you're right, Todd's right. His quick cutting ability and vision are outstanding.
He goes out for a breather. Jewel Hampton carries. And the freshman has another first down inside the 5. The previous run by Green got him over 100. And that's 13 straight games. So every game that Iowa played this season, Green had over 100 yards rushing. 103 today and on his way to more, it would seem. Chris Culliver saved the touchdown there on the tackle of Hampton. And Hampton's a pretty nice guy to have ready to step in if Green does go to the NFL. He's a true freshman, Jewel is, out of Indianapolis.
Yeah, he's a little bit smaller, but for a true freshman, he grasps the offense. And anytime you play behind an Iowa offensive line, you got a chance to be a pretty good running back.
Oh, Hampton again, and he runs hard. The ball's out as he got bounced around and coughed up the football, and the Gamecocks take it away again. So it's the defense keeping South Carolina in the game. We had an interception in the end zone in the first half, and now a fumble recovery very near the end zone.
Well, first of all, you love the ferociousness in which he hits the hole, but Norwood comes in, and Jewel kind of ran through Norwood, and you see Captain Munnerlyn come in and strip the ball.
I think he might have broken the plane with the ball, and I imagine this is going to be reviewed.
Well, I mean, they reviewed it for a lot of things today. I certainly think they should stop it and take a look at that one.
Let's see. Yeah, it's
touchdown.
I can't believe they're not going to stop it. Now they do. Officials almost waited too long. Iowa fans cheer because they saw some of those replays on the big screens here at Raymond James Stadium.
Remember, the plane of the goal line starts at the front part of the line, not the back part, the front part. You see him just run through Norwood right there. Captain comes in and gets a strip.
And I guess the question is, when was the ball starting to come out? Munnerlyn gets his hand on it.
His knee might have been down too, Sean.
Yeah. Was his knee down before any of the questions about the ball possession mattered? His knee's down. He still has the ball.
If anything, I think you not give him a touchdown and you mark the ball back around the 1-yard line.
It's a compromise. I'm gonna give him the ball back.
That was a nice, powerful run, though, by the young fellow, Jewel Hampton. Sticking it up in there at 5'9", 200.
He had 3 rushing touchdowns in a game against Indiana earlier this season, did Hampton, so he can power it in.
They've been on top of the replays today. They've done a good job.
Well, this is a huge decision.
After review, the runner's knee was down prior to the ball becoming loose. It is not a fumble. The ball will be placed on the half-yard line. It is second and goal. Second and goal.
Well, Steve Spurrier wants another look at the replays. Looking up at that screen, he's wondering what else can go wrong. A sigh of relief for Jewel Hampton. And now Sean Green will come back in.
I think you give Sean his 3rd rushing touchdown of the day. Send him out. Again, there's no official decision. I'm just assuming. I mean, this would be a nice way for Sean Green to go out if he decides to leave.
Green hit behind the line of scrimmage. Looks like he got back to the line, and that's all. There's 2 touchdowns today, giving the school record 19 rushing touchdowns this season. He was raised by his grandmother, Kirk Ferentz. We asked yesterday about his family situation. He said, you know, they're a solid family situation. There's not tremendous hardship, but Green was raised by his grandmother. He has acknowledged he'd like to support his grandmother. And he's also acknowledged the age situation. He'd be 24 at the start of the next football season. Perhaps it's time to move on to the NFL because the clock's ticking.
Yeah.
3rd down and goal. 10 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. And Green is racked again. Well, this South Carolina defense put in tough spots all day by the offense. And they have continued to fight. Jasper Brinkley and Eric Norwood combined on the stop. And now Coach Ferentz will send the field goal team out. That would seem to be the right call.
That's an answer to the challenge right there. What a great job by Ellis Johnson, Steve Spurrier, and that defense. Hanging tough, not giving in when the ball is placed at the half-yard line. 2 stops on the powerful Sean Green. They got penetration on the defensive line. That's why they were able to stop the goal line runs.
There's Daniel Murray, who missed in the first half from 45. This is an 18-yard try, and it is good. And it's 24-0 Hawkeyes with 9:09 to go in the 3rd quarter at the Outback Bowl in Tampa. It has been a very happy new year for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Trying to finish with 9 wins. They are 8-4 this season. They lead 24-0. Just more than 9 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter here in the Outback Bowl. Murray's kickoff bounces around. Finally gathered in by Chris Culliver. And he will not reach the 15. Cody Coleman made the tackle. Here's today's Harley-Davidson clutch moment. We take you back to the 2000 Outback Bowl. Purdue versus Georgia. And it was all Purdue. The Boilermakers led 25-0. But Quincy Carter at quarterback led the Bulldogs back. Over a minute to go, he found Randy McMichael, the tight end, for the game-tying touchdown. Shocking Purdue. And Drew Brees sending the game into overtime. Comeback completed. A 21-yard field goal by Hap Hines. Georgia wins 28-25. Will South Carolina be able to perform similar magic for the SEC today? Not if that continues to happen off the hands of Jared Cook. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, it's tough for Smelly to come in at halftime, and I can understand the frustration of Steve Spurrier, and I see him walking over on the sidelines, hands above his head. But you got to understand, Smelly didn't get any reps. He hasn't gotten any reps. They committed to Steven Garcia, and so Smelly's timing is going to be off a little bit, and it's frustrating for a coach because he knows that he needs a quarterback. For this offense to work, you need a quarterback that can throw it.
Smelly started their last game at Clemson through 4 interceptions. There's Jason Barnes battling across the 20, and flags fly. That had been a grasp of the face mask. Amari Spivey and Tyler Sash, the tacklers.
Automatic first down.
And it was Spivey guilty of the face mask. He's been a very pleasant surprise this year, according to Norm Parker. Sophomore getting a chance to play out of Middletown, Connecticut. So we really weren't sure what we had. He has surpassed our expectations.
Well, and I think that their whole defense has surpassed their expectations, and it starts with their seniors. And when your seniors are playing your best football, they'll elevate everybody else.
They have terrific senior leadership on this Iowa team. Ryan Maddox, the ball carrier. You know, we talked to Ken O'Keefe yesterday, the offensive coordinator. He said in all of his years coaching and getting ready to go to bowl games, this is the 7th bowl game for this staff at Iowa, he said he felt this Iowa team improved most from the end of the regular season until the bowl game than any other team because the seniors bought into it. You know, a lot of times it's my last game, we're going to go to the beach, we're going to have fun. The seniors were determined to get better, and that rubbed off on everybody else.
Well, South Carolina moved there.
Number 10, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
A lot of times you might blow that, or I might blow that off as like coach speak. I mean, we hear coaches say, and they're going to say what they want to say. But I saw it. I went to practice and I witnessed that it was a training camp practice. I mean, they were playing like they're playing for the national championship, the Super Bowl, or whatever huge game. The intensity and the focus, not only the players, but the coaches. I mean, nobody took a day off. They didn't take Christmas off. Ricky Stanley said, what else are you going to do but practice?
Yeah, they were down here on the 24th. They practiced on Christmas Day. Smelly throws, and it's a little too high for Jason Barnes. With a flag at the line of scrimmage again.
Holding. Number 77 offense. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Can you just leave the defense on the field? If you're Steve Spurrier, and you almost have the feeling they have a better chance of scoring than the offense does.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know his frustration. Here's a guy that's had all kinds of success and has obviously earned it, national championships, and great offenses. And when you can't get it together, there's nothing working. And the lack of a running game hurts his passing game almost as much as a quarterback that isn't consistent.
Dumped off for Kenny McKinley. And he goes back to the original line of scrimmage. They still need another 10 for a first down. And a remarkable career for McKinley, recruited by Lou Holtz to South Carolina as an athlete. He was a quarterback in high school. He said when he came to South Carolina, was made a receiver by Steve Spurrier. He had never played wide receiver. He didn't know how to line up, how to stand, how to get off the line of scrimmage, really how to catch the ball. Here's one of those wacky formations again. Smelly's going to throw it to McKinley. He wants to pass. They throw it back across the field. Mike Davis has the first down. Norm Parker says, you know, when you play Steve Spurrier, you're going to get 6 or 7 of those weird formations in the game. And you spend an awful lot of time getting ready for them. Don't know if they were ready for that one, but it worked.
Well, and you see Kenny McKinley, as you pointed out, ex-quarterback, using his arm skills, and it's just a screen. Right here is Kenny McKinley. He's going to catch it and throw it back across the field. But the problem is, when this is probably one of your most productive formations and your most productive offensive play on 3rd down, that's not something to hang your hat on.
Play action pass for Smelly. He zips one, and it's Jared Cook, the tight end, with the first down into Iowa territory at the 40. First catch for Cook, 13 yards. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, another SEC Big Ten matchup underway on ABC as Georgia and Michigan State. Sparty faked a punt on its opening possession. Didn't work. Georgia's now driving down close to the Michigan State 10-yard line. It's on ABC in the Capital One Bowl.
Reese, thank you. Two matchups of SEC versus Big Ten right now. Big Ten 0-3 in bowl games, but Iowa leading comfortably here with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Smelly flushed, dumps it off to Mike Davis. A nice move inside the 35, and he's out of bounds near another first down. Tackled by Mitch King.
Good job by Smelly of keeping the play alive with his feet. Pretty decent pass protection that time, and they're at more of a disadvantage as far as the Gamecock offensive line goes because they're 24-0, and you have the Iowa defenders knowing that the pass rush is coming. So the guys got a tough duty ahead of them for giving up 38 sacks on a year. It's extra tough duty.
South Carolina's offense moving crisply now. Smelly throws it down the sideline, and it is incomplete. Looking for Jared Cook, with the linebacker A.J. Eads covering the tight end.
Norm Parker called this play yesterday in our meetings. He expected a wheel route. This is what a wheel route is. Cook matched up with Eads one-on-one, and Eads does a good job of getting a hand. If he didn't get a hand on the hands, he got a hand in the vision of Cook, which maybe forced him to miss the ball. That was a good throw, though, by Smelly. And he's starting to heat up here a little bit.
5 out of 7. Their quarterback to begin the second half. You joined us late. Steven Garcia played the first half. Went 9 out of 18 for 79 yards and 3 interceptions. Smelly, oh my goodness. Off the hands of McKinley, and then he got flattened by Jeremiah Hunter.
Kenny McKinley in the meeting said, "I'm not afraid to go over the middle." Look at him. I'm all right. That's it. And he's not. And he's going to take a shot by Jeremiah Hunter. It's a good pass. Again, when you're in zone coverage like they're in, you got to sit it down. Because when you run into the next zone, you're going to get a face full of Jeremiah.
Henley, talking about the record, said that's one of the reasons he felt he was successful, as you said, Chris. He's not afraid to go over the middle. And the quarterbacks talk about his great ability to get open. They need him to get open on 3rd down and 10. Throw is short. The receivers aren't helping these quarterbacks much either today. Mo Brown got his hands on it, didn't squeeze it. Jeremiah Hunter was in the neighborhood, and the field goal unit comes out for the Gamecocks.
Well, they wouldn't have had the first down anyway, and Mo Brown struggling a little bit. I think that's what Steve was telling Smelly right there. Look, you know, take a shot down the field. And you can see there's a little bit of confidence growing in that young man right there, number 7.
There's Ryan Suckup to try a 47-yard field goal. He has plenty of leg, battling the gusty winds that are swirling around this stadium. And it is good. Not real high, but his 2-iron went straight down the fairway. South Carolina's on the board with 5:07 to go in the third quarter. And now, wait a minute. They ran off. They're gone on the sideline. They think they're about to kick off, but there was a flag that they didn't see, we didn't see. And apparently it's going against the Gamecocks. And they're going to have to try this again. How's the new year so far, Steve?
They moved it back, so now it'll become a...
Well, he's got the leg. He's kicked a 54-yarder this year. He's a career long of 55.
Might have to hit the Lee Trevino 1-iron instead of the 2-iron here.
Yeah. They didn't have enough men on the line of scrimmage, apparently. This will become a 51-yard field goal try. And a gusty, swirling breeze here at Raymond James Stadium. It seemed to be across from right to left. And that one never seen that before. The entire field goal unit ran over to the sideline. They thought they had the 3 points. Not so much.
ESPN College Football, the Outback Bowl, is brought to you by the all-new Dodge Ram, never back down from a challenge, and Southwest, low fares, no hidden fees.
Well, one of the activities on Bull Beach Day at Clearwater Beach, the cheerleader tug-of-war, won by Iowa. Hockey was not happy at the beach, not happy at Raymond Stadium today either. South Carolina still being shut out after the field goal was taken down for the illegal formation. A subsequent try from an additional 5 yards missed. So here comes Stanzi. They had 9 plays, all of them rushes on their last drive, and then Green's tackled about 4 yards out of bounds by Jasper Brinkley.
Personal foul. First collar tackle. Number 52, defense. 15-yard penalty at the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Jasper Brinkley's listed at 269 pounds, and he moves pretty well for a big man. You see right there, he's going to grab underneath on the back. Now, I don't know if he got, he could have had his hands underneath that shoulder pad area on top of the neck and yanked him down, which is illegal. The Roy Williams rule, trickling down for college football from the NFL, the horse collar.
You like that rule?
No, I hate it.
Of course.
Get him down. Got to get him down.
By any means necessary.
Exactly. Except the face mask.
Well, I might make that legal too then.
In a perfect world, it would be.
Sean Green for about 5 more. And some pushing and shoving as well. Later days, the granddaddy of them all. What an appealing matchup. Number 8, Penn State takes on number 5, USC. The 2009 Rose Bowl presented by Citi. The coverage begins today at 4:30 Eastern on ABC and ABC HD.
Sean, there's been a lot of great defenses in college football. You've covered the game for years. I've watched college football my whole life. I don't think I've ever seen one as good as the USC Trojans. I mean, we went out there to see them in sheer play. They are an amazing group of guys, and they're all great players with no ego. You put that combination together, you got a dangerous defense.
And they're holding their opponents to under 8 points per game this year.
Play game. Third penalty. Second down.
Stanzi with a 5-yard walk-off. He's from Ohio. And we looked at his picture in the media guide. This crop conservative haircut. He walks into the meeting yesterday with hair down by his shoulders. He said, yep, haven't had a haircut since August.
That's what Iowa will do to you. It's a crazy place.
His throw is on target to Andy Brodell. He said his mom's a hairstylist. And his dad is a portfolio manager. So, you know, your dad's probably a conservative guy, money guy. He said, no, he has long hair, too. Here's a look at that defense that you were praising, and with good reason. Looks like they have an NFL caliber player at every position.
They're the closest thing that I've ever seen to an NFL defense. I mean, normally when you do college football, there's an area that's weak or not as strong as the other areas. Well, here, I mean, you look at the defensive line. Well, they're great. Now, the linebackers, well, everybody knows about those guys. They're great. Then you go back to the secondary, and that might be the strongest part of the defense. Taylor Mays at safety.
Yeah, I thought he was the best defensive player I saw all year in person. Well, they're allowing that USC defense 7.8 points per game. The average team at this level of college football this year is scoring 27.3 points per game. Green, the ball carries, driven back. The ball came out well after the whistles. That's the difference for USC between the points that they're allowing and the average of college football this year of 19.5 points per game. The biggest differential in history is 17.8 by those great Miami teams back in 2001. Best in the nation in pass defense. And that's against opponents that are behind almost all the time and are trying to throw.
To me, it's just amazing in today's day and age of college football with a lot of spread offenses, and nothing to see scores in the 35-33 range, and these guys are holding them under 8 points. I mean, it's insane.
Penn State has weapons on offense. That will be an interesting matchup. A flag thrown in the secondary as the pass intended for Darrell Johnson-Koulianos was incomplete. A flag thrown in the secondary. We're getting a penalty on just about every play. It's going to be a defensive hold, it appears, against South Carolina.
Holding, number 40, defense against an eligible receiver. 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Norwood matched up on Myers, which is a tough matchup for Eric Norwood, a converted defensive end back to linebacker. But, you know, you talk about SC's defense, and don't count out Scrap Iron Tom Bradley in the Penn State defense. I mean, they can play, and they play as a unit as well as anybody.
A little later into 2009 than I anticipated you'd dust off the Big Ten pom-poms. Here they come.
After this Iowa performance, I have a little right to cheer after this one.
They are representing the Big Ten very well today. Jewel Hampton back in for Green. Got to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. About that statistic, Iowa's run 42 plays now in Gamecock territory. South Carolina has barely crossed midfield today against Kirk Ferentz's defense. Ken O'Keefe's offense has that great field position to work with all day.
And they do what they want to do. I mean, they got the play action pass anytime they want it. Right here. There it is.
Stanzi. And good moves after the catch by Brandon Myers, who was such a key on their opening drive of the football game when he had 3 third-down receptions. That's good for 11 yards and a first down. His 4th catch for 49 yards. Rob?
Sean, already a thin at USC secondary. They're now without strong safety Darian Stewart out with the left hamstring injury, and we're starting to see the frustrations boil over here on the USC sideline. Wesley Saunders, Freddie Brown had a little spirited conversation. Coach Spurrier had to settle that one down. He slapped his play card a couple times. Visor almost got tossed. And a very short fuse with Chris Smelly on the sideline as well, guys. Sitting to watch as this one progresses.
Bill Hampton again down at the 11-yard line. Final minute of the 3rd quarter. It's been an ugly end of the season 2 years in a row now for South Carolina. Mentioned last year 6-1, ranked in the top 10. Lost the last 5, didn't go to a bowl game. This year they were 7-3. Lost the last 2 in ugly fashion. Had a team meeting. Lots of talk about guys leaving for the NFL. Steve Spurrier questioned whether some guys were thinking more about the NFL than finishing the season. 3 players didn't make it to this game for academics. Final 10 seconds of the quarter. Here's Sean Green into the end zone again. His 3rd touchdown of the game.
Well, that's just a zone running screen. What I mean by zone running screen is that the offense lineman just screen our guys off, and Sean Green picks a hold, darts through it, and uses his power to get in the end zone.
Daniel Murray, the extra point, and it's 31-0 Iowa. 11-yard touchdown run by Green, his 3rd rushing touchdown of the game, 20th of the season, as he adds to his school record. He's rushed for 121 yards today. And the Hawkeyes are rolling on New Year's Day in Tampa. Sean Green and Iowa pounding the Gamecocks here in the 3rd quarter. It's 31-0. As Daniel Murray gets ready to kick off. High and short, end over end. Fielded by Larry Freeman. One of the up men, a backup tight end. And he's out to the 33, and that will be the last play of the 3rd quarter. With the lead, Iowa adding to the lead and running out the clock. Their last 2 possessions, they've had 16 rushes, only 2 passes, and the lead has expanded. It's 31-0 as we head to the 4th in Tampa. Steve Spurrier's 4th season as South Carolina head coach, 15 minutes from being over. It seemed like an eternity for Steve and the Gamecocks today, down 31-0. Smelly comes out throwing to open the 4th and has Kenny McKinley for a first down out to the 48-yard line, good for 16 yards. McKinley was candid when we spoke with him yesterday, Chris. He said he certainly thought they'd be further along as a program under Steve Spurrier's 4th year. He said, I thought last year we were right there with a chance to win the conference championship, maybe even be a national title contender. But they had some injuries he felt that derailed the season last year when they were 6-1. Kenny felt the same way at the beginning of this year, that they had a chance to compete for a conference title. It didn't happen. Pat Anger got his hands on that pass. And that was in a down year, according to Coach Spurrier, for the SEC. I mean, this was the year, if you had a really good team, you had a better chance to compete. Florida looks like a great team, but a lot of the other powers were down this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think, he's disappointed in how they finished. That's why I think this game and how they finished this game is important. Then I think in the spring, he's got to reevaluate of what we're doing and how do we do it and how can we get better. Like, I know he's a great college coach, one of the best. But you always can get better, and you got to figure out where you're weak and try to build on that.
Eric Baker took the short little pass, and he's off and running. And down to the 10-yard line. Well, there's a bright glimmer of hope for the future. The true freshman Baker goes for 42 yards.
A nice play call right here. Just a little screen. Jeremiah Hunter gets in there, but he stops his feet, allowing Baker to set up the block coming in by Campbell. Baker not going out of bounds, cutting back inside, fighting and clawing for everything he can get. And that's something that Coach Spurrier can use as a teaching moment when they reevaluate this film.
Steve Spurrier wants them to speed up the operation here, down 31-0. Chris Smelly, 7 out of 12 here in the second half. They're not going to get the play off if they don't snap it. They just did beat the play clock. It is a throw to the corner, too long for Kenny McKinley. Tyler Sash in coverage.
Again, that's a timing route right there, and I think that's where Smelly's just a little bit off because of the lack of reps that he has gotten. Most of the reps for bowl preparation went to Garcia. He's just a little bit long, especially when you have a guy like McKinley put the ball out in front of him, give him a chance to make it a play, and put the ball inbounds so he can make a play.
Second and goal just inside the 10. Again, the play clock down to 1. And again for McKinley. He was breaking open with Sash trying to run with him, and the play just wasn't timed well again.
That's an inside-out fade. It's a nice little play call. They worked on this in practice. And usually, watch McKinley's going to come in like a fade, but he turned his shoulders back in toward the line of scrimmage. Watch him. There's the fake corner route. In the fade, and the timing again is off. When they ran that play in practice, it was to Garcia. Now Smelly's got to make that throw. He's wide open on 2 plays, and he missed them twice.
And this gusty breeze making it difficult for the quarterbacks to judge where they need to throw it as well. 3rd down and goal. Hawkeyes trying to protect their shutout. Pressure up the middle. Throw to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown, South Carolina. Jared Cook.
That's a good read by Smelly going with Cook. That 6'4", 6'5", matched up on A.J. Eads. Right here he is. Does a little in route, gets behind him. Smelly throws to the back shoulder. Cook does a good job of adjusting with his hips. Won the matchup that Smelly liked. Tight end on linebacker.
Early in the 4th quarter, South Carolina finally on the board, and Ryan Suckup's extra point makes it 31-7. 13:35 to go in the 2009 Outback Bowl from Tampa, Florida. 4 final nominees for the Pontiac game-changing performance of the year. Here's one of them. Michael Crabtree, the catch and score in the final second to give Texas Tech the victory over Texas. One of the lasting images from this college football season. Buffalo's Hail Mary on the last play against Temple, one of the other nominees. Arkansas in the final seconds, a touchdown pass to beat LSU. And Alabama's interception in overtime to set up their win against LSU. Log on to ESPN.com, search Pontiac to check them all out and cast your vote.
I was taking a timeout to set up for their onside kick protection. It looked like South Carolina was going to go ahead and try the onside kick just to go back to that Pontiac play. Texas Tech took away the national championship from Tech, or an opportunity to play for the national championship with that one play.
I like Buffalo's Hail Mary.
I saw that one. It was great.
Temple.
Yeah.
It was the way that season went for both teams. You know, Buffalo had a season full of dramatic wins, and Al Golden has that Temple team this close. They had a couple of heartbreaking losses, or they might have been the Buffalo of the MAC this year.
Interesting thing about that play, that was set up by a kickoff that was kicked out of bounds that gave Buffalo one play to get field position, then throw the Hail Mary. Special teams. Third of the game, as they say.
After the timeout by Iowa, they wanted to see if South Carolina was looking like it was going onside kick. Kirk Ferentz does have the hands team out there. 10 players up within 10 yards of where they can be nearest the line. And Hawkeyes between the 40 and 50. And Suckup sends it deep down the field. Well, Johnson Koulianos swung down near the 30. Here's Reese Davis.
Sean, Capital One Bowl on ABC. Georgia and Michigan State. Dogs have a couple of turnovers already, including this one. The freshman A.J. Green, Spielman, he stops his feet. Otis Wiley hits him. Low man wins. Turnover. Sparty got it there, tied up at 3. End of the first quarter.
First and 10 at the 29.
All right, Reese, thank you. Big Ten trying to get this bowl season turned around. Winless until today, 0 for 3. But Iowa looks like they're about to get the Big Ten in the win column. Here's Jewel Hampton turning the corner, stays in bounds. And Eric Norwood took him down. Here's another example of a well-coached football team. Here's a freshman who knew with this score and situation such as it is, he did not need to be going out of bounds.
Yeah, and it shows toughness, too. And I got a feeling if he goes out of bounds under this guy's offense or in the meeting room, he would hear about it. I mean, that's just what this football team is. They make no bones about who they are. They're tough, and they're going to run the football. And if I can't run by you, I'm going to run over you. I don't care if I'm 5'9", 200 or 5'11", 230 like Sean Green.
Of course, with the new timing rules, the out-of-bounds thing a little less pertinent here. The clock will stop for a moment. 12:39 to go as Brodell has the catch. A little bit short of the first down. Here's Rob.
Well, Sean, the Gamecocks starting to show some fight in their game. Their live mascot, Sir Big Spur, always shows some fight. If you put this little wind glass up to him, look at him. He's getting agitated. See the wings, the feathers up there around the neck? He's looking in this mirror, Sean, and he thinks he sees another rooster. But it's, oh, no, that didn't go well.
What happened? We missed it.
Well, no, Cocky the mascot. Hey, back off, dude. We'll get you later. All right, you've been overtaken by Sir Big Spur. You're old news. You're old news, Cocky. Hold on, back off.
They didn't have that on camera. What happened with Cocky?
I got jumped by the mascot, and I want the live mascot, Sir Big Spur. See, Cocky's, get out of the shot, Cocky. You're annoying me. All right, now Sir Big Spur is getting fired up because he's looking in the mirror, guys, and he thinks he sees another rooster, and he wants to fight. He's ready to fight, but he's just seen himself.
Well, that rooster's taking some tackling lessons. He's hitting what he's seeing and seeing what he hits. He's keeping his eyes open. He's closing the gate in front of the ball, leading with his face.
No, he's doing good. Now, listen, guys, these roosters are the only animals out there that will fight to their death. So it's kind of like the Gladiator movie, which is good.
How many times, Tony, do you think he needs to hit his face, or she? Is it a he or a she? Do we know?
Well, it's a rooster, so you're always a he.
Thank you.
So the hens are she's. Now,
not exactly Marlon Perkins, as you can tell.
No, this is not Mutual of Omaha's wild team. I got another good tidbit here.
Well, let me ask you a question before you move on. How many times does the rooster have to bounce the face off the mirror before they realize that, that's
Well, how long have we been doing it so far? Apparently, well, I'm just saying Sir Big Spur's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Cut him some slack. Now, hold on. You want to talk about dim-witted roosters, I guess. Sir Big Spur here attacked a hubcap earlier this year because he saw his reflection in the hubcap was a bloody mess. In fact, what is it, a talon? A talon on his back right paw is missing because claw, I don't know what it is. I'm not, yeah. Merlin Olsen here.
No.
So there you go. There's Sir Big Spur. Good television, courtesy of me. Happy New Year.
Good till the end. Shaq Wilson made the tackle for an 11-yard sack. It was Jack Hanna. Who can we call?
Jack Hanna from the Columbus Zoo.
Is Marlon Perkins still with us?
I'm not sure. He might be exploring wild kingdoms and other places.
He's gone on to the next wild kingdom.
To a better place.
I'm not sure. We'll find out for us. No, they've said they have no interest in actually learning the answer to that question. And who can blame them, really? 2nd and 21, Jewel Hampton carries. You know, the Gamecocks' history of football is almost alarmingly mediocre. They've been playing football since 1892, and coming into today, they're exactly 500. 528 wins, 528 losses, and 44 ties. You know, we spoke to Ellis Johnson, first-year defensive coordinator for Steve Spurrier this year. He's a South Carolina native, played in the state, has coached in the state. He thinks it might be, among all the programs in college football, the most underperforming program in college football over its history, given the facilities, the town they play in, the school, the talent in that state for high school football. And in neighboring states, Jewel Hampton dragged down, and now there's a flag. And now tempers are flaring, and here comes another flag.
I think the frustration from the Gamecocks is starting to show.
Clifton Geathers had to be hauled away by a teammate. He's the nephew of the former NFL player Jumpy Geathers. He got a little too jumpy himself.
Well, that might have been on Ricky Stanzi, who pushed Geathers. I mean, Ricky Stanzi's down there throwing blocks.
The play was over. Personal foul. Number 96, defense. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 12, offense. These penalties offset. 3rd down.
I don't think Geathers did anything. It didn't look like it. I mean, he went back and went at Ricky Stanzi, but there's the reflection of the Iowa Hawkeyes when your quarterback's taking on defensive ends downfield on a run.
It is going to be a punt situation for Iowa, their first of the day for Ryan Donahue.
That's amazing, isn't it? With this 11th ranked defense, 12th ranked defense coming into the country, that one punt, and we're under 10 minutes to go in the 4th quarter.
Clock's running, so Iowa wisely letting the play clock run down. This team is just so fundamentally solid, so situation aware, and Donahue didn't get the bounce he was hoping for. It's into the end zone. 51-yard punt. Nice back.
ESPN College Football, the Outback Bowl, is brought to you by Outback Steakhouse, Fravor, triple rewards of your choice at CapitalOne.com. What's in your wallet? And Chevy, an American Revolution.
Back in Tampa, Florida, Raymond James Stadium, home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Will host the Super Bowl in a month. Today, the site of the Outback Bowl, the kickoff 2009. It's been all Iowa from the beginning. The Hawkeyes lead 31-7. Smelly with the handoff. And Matt Kroll made the tackle on Eric Baker. We were talking about South Carolina, the opinion of Ellis Johnson, South Carolina native, underperforming 500 over their history. I think most of us believe with Steve Spurrier there, this would be the time the program's taken off. It's gotten a little bit better, but probably not as quickly as most had expected and not as much as people expected.
Well, including Steve Spurrier himself. And Ellis Johnson gets it when we talk to him. at this level, every college coach can X and O everybody. Everybody knows that. It's all about the talent and recruiting players. And if you're not deep in talent, and especially if you don't have that stud star in a quarterback-friendly offense like Steve Spurrier's, you're going to struggle. And they haven't had any consistency in that position for a couple of years.
Steve Spurrier said when we visited with him yesterday at age 63, he wants to stick it out at South Carolina long enough to build an SEC championship team. He does believe that the ingredients are in place to get that done in Columbia. But with an eye toward what they have coming back next year, Chris, it doesn't really look like they are threatening to be an SEC championship team as they're comprised right now.
I think their youth is pretty decent, but you're going to have to see major improvement from two guys, and somebody's got to step up. If you have two quarterbacks, all that tells me is you don't have one. And right now they have John Smelly and Steven Garcia that are competing for a position, and somebody's got to step up and take the reins. They would like Steven. You get the feeling they like Steven Garcia to do that. The problem is they're not sure if he knows what it takes to be a Division I successful quarterback. He's not putting in the extra time in the film room. He doesn't do a lot of the workouts like he's supposed to do them with passion and intensity. And until he grows into that role, he's going to be average.
He's had so much turmoil in his brief time on campus. We mentioned a couple of brushes with the law, university suspensions. He's missed spring practices. It's been hard for him to get any traction within the program. Maybe that can start with spring ball upcoming. Spencer Lanning's punt goes out of bounds, and we have a timeout. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, and Rob Stone. Rob's the pride of Tampa, makes his home in this great city on the Gulf Coast of Florida. Population of just under 400,000, but about 3 million people in the metropolitan area. Most of them are on the highways here the last couple of days. Stanzi rolls out and throws to Andy Brodell for a first down. And boy, the weather has been terrific all week. That's a first down for Iowa. We look at our yellowbook.com future pros. Be interested to see how Kenny McKinley fares as he heads toward the NFL draft. He's going to begin getting ready for the combines and such right away.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that, depending on what he runs, will probably be an early second-day guy, but will make a team and be a productive receiver. He's a tough kid with solid hands.
Jewel Hampton in for Sean Green. We talked about his NFL prospects earlier, and it looks like his junior season might be over. Now the question is, will he come back for his senior year? If this is it for this year, it's 13 straight 100-yard games. Every game this season capped by 121 and 3 TDs in today's Outback Bowl.
To me, he's a special guy, and I know that Todd has him at the 5th or 6th guy. If he decides to come out with all the juniors, I think he's number 3, probably behind Chris Wells at Ohio State and Noshawn Marino.
Number 3 running back.
Yes, thank you. And number 3 running back and Noshawn Marino from Georgia.
Hampton again, a little bit short of the first down. And of course, the questions will be asked after this game to Kirk Ferentz. Is this his last game as Iowa head coach? The first couple years were a little rough as he got the program turned around, but ever since he's established this program as a consistent winner, Ferentz has had to answer the NFL questions every year. Between his success as a college coach, his experience as an NFL assistant, he's a natural candidate, and even a more natural candidate should Scott Pioli, the New England vice president, helps run the football operation with Belichick, should he wind up in his own job somewhere else, most notably Cleveland. Pioli and Ferentz are good friends. They've worked together. They have a lot of mutual respect. It would seem to be a natural. I think if you're Kirk Ferentz and it worked out in Cleveland, then what else are you waiting for? If the money's right, you know Pioli, you like him, you're inheriting some talent on that team, you've already lived in that city. He's a Midwest, East Coast kind of guy.
I think the time is now. If he wants to go, the time is now for him to go. The only thing that might be holding Coach back is he has a son still in high school, I believe.
Yes, he has a 15-year-old son. Kirk has said from time to time he wants all of their 5 children to get through school while the family's in Iowa City. Steven's 15 years old. There's a couple more years left.
But when you look at him and with that NFL experience, and I think you're right, Sean, it's vital that he gets with a general manager or personnel guy that he knows and that he trusts, and he and Pioli obviously have that history. Then Randy Lerner is the name that comes up, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, who really wanted to get Bill Cowher, but Bill Cowher wasn't going to show, in his eyes, disrespect to the Rooney family by going to the Browns. That might be the direction that you go if you're Randy Lerner, the Cleveland Browns. I think it would be a great hire. I'm not trying to stir any rumors. I have no idea. I just think it'd be a great hire.
Yeah, I think with all the options open at Cleveland right now, Pioli in combination with an excellent coach would be a great way for them to go. Chris Culliver returning the punt from Donahue. And he's down around the 15-yard line. Timeout, 4:39 to go. 4:39 to go. South Carolina with the ball, 1st and 10, their own 15-yard line. The Iowa fans are celebrating behind their bench on the near sideline. Deep throw intended for Jason Barnes, and it's broken up by Amari Spivey. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Rob Stone. We were talking before the break about Kirk Ferentz. Ron Borges, longtime sports writer and columnist in the Boston area, now with the Boston Herald, has been reporting that the Cleveland Browns have offered Scott Pioli the opportunity to run their football operation. They'd like an answer today. Pioli's a hot commodity. Other teams reported the interest. And the reports indicate that Ferentz would be Scott Pioli's first choice if he is, in fact, handed the keys to the kingdom of the Cleveland Browns. Well, that will be a developing story in the hours ahead. And we addressed it yesterday with Kirk Ferentz, and he's really taking the same stance he takes every year. He's very happy where he is. He will speak about NFL possibilities if it becomes something worth talking about. I spoke with Gary Barta, the AD at Iowa today. He said he hasn't heard a single thing. He doesn't think there's anything going on, at least not right now.
I don't think until Scott Pioli makes a decision on where he goes will you start to hear something. But you ask why he would leave, and I think he's a competitor, and he might have it in him that I have to know what I can do at the highest level. I have to know within myself, and I don't know if some guys have it, some guys don't. I think he does. Just talking to him.
53 years old, so he's still a relatively young man.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Maybe waits a few more years for his son to graduate high school. He's 56 years old. You wonder if he would be as attractive a candidate. Kirk is very comfortable in Iowa City. He and his wife Mary and their children ingrained in the culture in Iowa City throughout the state. And he was a longtime assistant under Hayden Fry before he left the NFL and came back as a head coach. Clearly, he's very happy and comfortable there and well compensated. Reported $2.84 million. Making him the highest paid state employee. So it's not like he's needed financial enticement to stay. He already has that. But in this day and age of the NFL, I mean, Steve Spurrier knows. Steve Spurrier went to the NFL for 5 years, $25 million. Didn't last the 5 years, but that's the kind of money guys are making, well over the 2.84 that Ferentz makes.
Yeah, and I think, Kirk is probably set up for life and really doesn't need to worry about money, but certainly that's an incentive. The other thing is, and this is, maybe it's me, and this is how I think, and I think every football guy thinks like this, it's about the challenge. Do I have what it takes to coach at that level? And
whoops. It might have been a late hit as Maddox was shoved along the boundary. Previous catch was the 6th of McKinley's final game of his career, 86 yards, and he has accounted himself well. An otherwise tough day for the offense. We talk a lot about sometimes it's time for coaches to move on. I find it astounding, and you do too, when we do Iowa games and we hear the fans and read some media, hear some media say, well, Ken O'Keefe doesn't know what he's doing. Or Norm Parker's too old. Or Kirk Ferentz, he was good at the beginning, but what have you done for us lately? Yeah. I don't really think people in Iowa always fully appreciate what they have in this coaching group. And maybe it's time. He's done a remarkable job here. Perhaps it's time. And I personally can't think of a better resume or a more solid human being to go on and run an NFL team as a head coach than the guy we're looking at right now.
Well, and he doesn't have the ego where he wouldn't surround himself with the best possible guys. And he'll get a great defensive guy in there. He'll get a great offensive coordinator. He'll oversee it. And he's tough and demanding. But you get his respect because that's how he works. And that's how he is all the time. And you're right. I mean, Obviously, they've had some issues off the field, and other schools have had issues off the field, but he's addressed them, and the schools addressed those with more, I think, a vigorous approach. And he had to actually suspend his son this year.
I mean, he himself, though, I mean, if you're looking for a solid citizen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this guy's a family guy. He's a community guy.
And he's
tough.
tough.
As you said, a hard worker, fiercely loyal. I think has the right balance of tough guy with the players when he needs to be, but compassionate. And I think we see the benefit of kind of that steady, consistent personality. We both have enormous respect for Steve Spurrier. His record speaks for itself.
Absolutely.
But sometimes you wonder if his behavior up and down is a help or a hindrance.
Right. And it depends. And I look at
charge time out of the
Kirk's demeanor as NFL coach's demeanor, how he handles himself on the sidelines, but also how he handles himself in practice. I mean, he is pushing and pulling those guys and demanding their best. And you need that at the highest level to get the best out of those guys, especially when you're dealing with a lot of money and a lot of egos.
And Steve Spurrier's experience is a relatively recent reminder. Great success in college does not necessarily equate to success as an NFL head coach. There are a lot of different variables, a lot of things that in college you can control that in the NFL you don't have as much control over. Later today, catch the granddaddy of them all. Number 8 Penn State takes on number 5 USC. The 2009 Rose Bowl presented by Citi, 4:30 Eastern on ESPN. That man we just saw, Pete Carroll, can appreciate the differences between a head coach in the NFL and in college. There's a flag down. A.J. Eads had coverage on Wesley Saunders, the backup tight end.
Pass interference. Number 49 defense. 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Automatic first down.
That's again a matchup, and AJ just ran into the guy who was slowing down. Herky
helping to fill the Gatorade.
The more you can do, Herky, the better chance you have to stay in.
Cup by cup. That's attention to detail over there. With this win, Kirk Ferentz will be 4-3 in bowl games.
Herky might have to see Coach Doyle in a weight room. He's getting a little thin.
You're talking about the mascot,
yes,
not the coach.
Yes.
Smelly unloads one. Intended for Jared Cook. 2:17 to go. Iowa leading 31-7. So they're going to end this season with 9 wins. Iowa will finish at 9-4. Winners of 6 of their last 7. And you think of what might have been, as we mentioned, those 4 losses were by a combined 12 points. A 1-point loss, a 5-point loss, and 2 of them by 3 points. 3 of those 4 losses were on the road. Their only home loss this year was to Northwestern. They were close to a memorable season. Of course, the highlight, the win over Penn State. And this is a highlight to end it as well. There, the narrow loss is a 1-point defeat at Pittsburgh. The home loss that we mentioned in Northwestern. 3 points at Michigan State when Ferentz opted to forego a short field goal try in the last moments. Tried to convert a first down. It didn't work out. And then they made a couple of mistakes late at Illinois when they rallied back to tie and lost on a field goal in the final minute.
They ran a play with Sean Green without a lead back, and the on-block linebacker for Michigan State came in and made the tackle on a 4th and 1. Great hit. One of the rare times one guy brought Sean Green down. You know what I would do? I just have such respect for these 2 kids as Mitch King and Matt Kroll. I'd bring them out right now and let them stand before the fans. I mean, they have 4 years of guys that have produced an awful lot.
They're getting ready with the Gatorade bucket. So a 48-yard field goal try by Ryan Suckup. No one's attempted more field goals this year than Suckup, his 30th attempt of the year. And it is good from 48 yards. You might see him on an NFL field near you next year. Very strong leg. 31-10 with 2 minutes to go. Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN Friday with the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Tony Dixon and the Kentucky Wildcats take on Patrick Pinckney and the East Carolina Pirates. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl is a part of Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN Friday. That's tomorrow, 5 Eastern Time. Of course, these schools taking part in the Bowl Challenge Cup. Pac-10 in the driver's seat right now, 4-0 after Oregon State's 3-0 win over Pittsburgh yesterday. That was the first loss for the Big East. They're 3-1. The SEC is about to take an L here with South Carolina going down. And the Big Ten will finally be in the win column with Iowa's win. The Big Ten will be 1-3. Awarded by ESPN to the conference with the best bowl winning percentage with a minimum of 3 games, 3 teams in bowl play. Onside kick, and South Carolina has it.
Yeah,
did it go 10 yards, and that's what Kirk Ferentz wants an answer.
But the Iowa kid came up and touched the ball before it went 10 yards. Thus, it becomes a live ball. Watch Sycup right here, the kicker. Watch him get blasted, number 14.
The Iowa first to touch it, though. Adrian Claiborne, number 94, was the nearest player to it, and the officials say the ruling is he was the first to touch it. It looks like that's the case. He blew up Sycup.
That poor kicker. I mean, you know, what's he going to do? The poor kid, he doesn't take hits, and he's running in there, and they're asking him to go in, and the defensive lineman has one job, knock the guy out to recover the ball, and Sycup happened to be the guy.
And this might be reviewed. Kirk Ferentz. Okay, you got to fight all the way to the end.
Iowa's challenging that they did not touch the ball prior to any touch by South Carolina.
Meanwhile, they're tending the Sycup on the sideline, looking at his left hand.
No, I think that was one of those onside kicks, Sean, where it's used as a surprise when the kicker's the guy that you want to recover the football, but he gets thrown out of the saloon. You'll see right there, it did look to me like Claiborne did hit it with his knee. Let's take a look here and see if I can stop it. If I see the ball hit the player. And, yep. I think it's a good call. I think it'll stand.
Well, I'm glad you had one last chance this season to play with your toys.
Yeah.
That gives us a moment as they continue to review the replay to thank our outstanding technical crew, our producer Josh Hoffman, our director Mike Roy, Andy Davenport, Don Scalise.
Called South Carolina ball, first down.
Oversee all of our technical operations, our wonderful technicians, support staff in the truck.
Yeah, they've been great.
Up here in the booth, Dick Bossing, Hall of Fame stats man, Toby Luia, Greg Bushy.
And what do those two guys do again?
We're still trying to figure that out, but we're out of games now to figure out what they did this season. We'll try to figure it out next year, I guess. But it has been a very fun and exciting season of college football, and I know for the two of us and Rob, our great privilege to work with so many very nice and talented people. Smelly on the run. I'll also describe Chris as he heads to the airport here to head on to the Sugar Bowl in our ESPN radio broadcast. Tomorrow night, we'll head over and watch Alabama and Utah, and it'll be an interesting couple of days, we think, for Kirk Ferentz. I have no idea what's going to happen, but among the many rumors that have linked him to the NFL, this one seems to make a lot of sense.
You know, and another reason why he might consider going in the meeting yesterday, I think he had the most fun this year of coaching any football team.
That's what he said. The group's had a great attitude, great senior leadership. They've worked hard all the way through spring practice into the fall. He wasn't really sure they were a particularly good team, but they've worked hard to improve. And the record shows they did improve as they went along, winning 6 of their last 7 games.
He saw it coming. He was moving. Like an offensive lineman, he didn't avoid it, though. He took the hit.
Quick pass to Bobby Wallace, and he gets driven back. And some emotional moments now as the seniors realize they've played their last game. And like their coaches, these Iowa Hawkeyes, they pour their heart and soul into it. And Kirk Ferentz says we have to be a developmental program. We're not going to get a lot of blue chip recruits. We have the guys with potential, willing to work hard and coach them up and make them better football players. And they have quite a history of doing that.
Well, that's where it's Ricky Stanzi, who was committed to Miami with Shane Montgomery in Oxford. And Iowa came in late, and they were able to get Ricky Stanzi from Miami to come to Iowa. And he said, that's how we do it. That we got to go find the guys and grow them.
I think you have to believe Kirk when he says he's in no hurry to move on to the next thing. Happy and comfortable where he is. 1 minute to go in the Outback Bowl. Smelly can't find anybody.
Well, you know, the other thing about he and his wife have invested back in to the University of Iowa, not only with their time and their talents, but with their treasures. They've made some huge donations in the past to the hospital in Iowa, I believe, right? If I remember correctly. And he's invested in Iowa City and the University of Iowa. 4th and 8. Always wanted to do play-by-play.
Go ahead.
Pass over to number 4. Just kidding. It's Jason Barnes. Jason Barnes just short of the first down.
Guy would do blame the spotter.
Come on, Toby.
He was stopped short of the first down.
Thank you, Sean. You take over now.
I think one reason for Kirk Ferentz is looking for reasons to come back. There's only 13 seniors on this Iowa team. That's the 6th fewest in the country. So most of the talent's coming back. They do lose stalwarts like King and Kroll. Stanzi's back. Green might be gone. That would be a big loss. But only 13 seniors. It was the fewest seniors of any team in the country. That team we'll see tomorrow night on ESPN Radio. Alabama.
Yep.
9 seniors. What a year they've had with a young team.
Be playing without Andre Smith, the all-world offensive tackle.
Jake Christensen into the game. He deserves a lot of credit. You know, Chris, he could have derailed this season. He was the starter, returning starter, lost his job in Game 5 and remained a great teammate. Ricky Stanzi went out of his way yesterday to talk about how supportive Christensen was, both in the preparation and during the games, offering his opinion from time to time on things that might be able to help Stanzi. That's the kind of guy you win with, too, a team guy like Christensen.
Absolutely. Being a leader.
And the final seconds tick off. Sean Green with his 13th straight 100-yard game, the only player to rush for 100 or more in every one of his team's games this year. And he continued that streak to the end of the season. He rushed for 121 yards and 3 touchdowns. Stanzi is efficient, 13 out of 19 for 147 and a touchdown. And the defense outstanding. Held South Carolina to 43 yards rushing. Here's Rob.
Well, Coach, how are you guys able to set the tone so early in this one?
Well, yeah, our guys did a great job this whole month. They really, bowls are a little tricky and all that, but they had great focus. They did the work necessary, and our seniors continue to give us great leadership. So we really, it was just a fun group to be around all year, and this is a great way to cap it off.
What has Sean Green meant to you guys this season and today as well?
He just lets his play speak for himself. He doesn't say much. Kind of like Bob Sanders. He doesn't say much, but he just plays every down, and he's done a great job. All the seniors this year have done wonderful, and Sean's a great story in himself. We need those to have success.
Great win for you in the program, but as usual this time of the year, there's those conversations about your name in the NFL. Should Scott Pioli take over Cleveland, how would that affect your outlook on maybe going to the NFL?
Scott's a great friend of mine, and I think it's a mutual thing. But I think it's presumptuous to think anybody knows what he's doing right now, and he and I haven't talked in 3 weeks. So, we've both been doing our jobs, and I'll tell you, I've got a great job at Iowa. I've said it many, many times. The people are fantastic, and I just feel very, very fortunate.
Where's the NFL on your to-do list, if you will?
It's I don't have a to-do list. I never have. I just try to do live every day and enjoy them. And I can't think of a year I've enjoyed much more than this one.
Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And if you want a small example of why he is the kind of person he is, you know, a lot of coaches, Chris, would have brushed that off. He clearly didn't really want to answer it, but he gave a thoughtful, respectful, professional answer. And I think a sincere answer. I really think that is what the situation is right now and where his mindset is.
And that's what you expect from him, and that's what we've come to know of Coach Ferentz. He's straightforward, he's honest, and that's why he's a great college football coach, and he'd be a great coach in the NFL.
Or at Iowa.
Or at Iowa.
As someone who works in college football, I hope he stays.
I hope he stays for Iowa and the Big Ten. I think he's a great addition to the Big Ten.
Final score, Iowa 31 and South Carolina 10. The Hawkeyes now 2-1 all time at the Outback Bowl. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Chris Spielman, Rob Stone, and the rest of our great ESPN HD crew, Sean McDonough saying so long. Happy New Year, everyone, from Tampa, Florida. Let's join Reese Davis in the studio.